Polokwane is the self-respect of the people of this province and the mutual respect of this province, of the people of this province. We want to export that to other provinces. And we thank you for the orderly manner in which you entered this hall and made sure that you follow the protocols, health protocols, because your health and the health of your families are the wealth of this country. So we do not want to leave this hall or this province with anybody who has fallen victim to the pandemic of COVID-19. We are happy that we don't even have to give a long talk about social distancing and wearing the mask, because you are leading by example, all of you from your different political parties and also from the communities of Limpopo, led by your traditional leaders. We have brought you the most qualified personnel from Parliament, led by the Queen Mother here, Dr. Dr. Tulisiwe, and Advocate Bonani Ramano. And we have brought not skit and donor security, we have brought civil society police who will work with you peacefully without shouting at you, so that we together can deliver the land to the people of our country. But before we start our work, it is important that I don't speak on behalf of the honorable members sitting with me here. You know that we are a multi-party parliament. So the people sitting with me here from different political parties, we are not here as different political parties. We are here as a collective which has been mandated by the Parliament of the Republic of South Africa to come and listen to you and not to ourselves. Now I am going to allow each one of them to introduce themselves, so that next time when you meet them, you shouldn't say chief, chief, because the chiefs are seated this side. I am Professor Matole Mutsecha. I'm the chairperson of the ad hoc committee on Section 25, and I'm also the chairperson of the Constitutional Review Committee of Parliament. I will ask a comrade at the left to introduce herself, and then we'll go right this side.
Thank you, Chair. Mandibulise apa ePolokwane. Dumelang. Igama lami nguNolitha Ntobongwana, usihlalo we-Public Works and Infrastructure pha eParlamente yoMzantsi Afrika. Ndikwalilungu lale komiti yenziwe iParlamente ukuba ijonge ukulungiswa komgaqo siseko uSection 25. Ndiyabulela.
Dumelang. Lina lami ke Dr. Mimi Gondwe, ke leloko la Committee A ya Section 25, ebe ke nna leloko la Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence le Constitutional Review Committee. Ke a leboga.
Dumela. Leina la ka ke Rone. La bopape ke Morwa Tshetla. Ke leloko la Palamente ya Afrika Borwa ko national. At the same time, I'm a member of the Portfolio Committee on Basic Education, a member together with the Prof of the Constitutional Review Committee, and a member of this ad hoc committee on amendment of Section 25 of our Constitution, expropriation of land without compensation. Ke a leboha.
Sanibona, ngingumayina wakalisoma ilunga laleli komiti lokuchibiyelwa kwesahluko samashumi amabili nanhlanu. Ngiwhip bese ngiba
Good morning, everybody. I'm a member of parliament, being a member of the committee and dealing with Section 25 amendment program.
ngibonge kakhulu umhlali ngaphambili.
I thank you very much,
Bese ngiba
Chairperson.
ilunga le komiti DPSA DPME committee ngiwhip nalana ngiwhip ngizibongele kakhulu.
I thank you very much. As I've indicated, I'm a member of this committee dealing with this Section 25.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bongani Bongo. I'm a member of parliament. I am a chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Home Affairs, and I'm also part of this committee on Section 25.
Dumelang bagaetsho. Leina la ka ke Dibolelo Mahlatsi. Ke leloko la Palamente, ebile ke leloko la Committee ya Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development, ebile ke leloko la Committee A ya Section 25. Ke a leboga.
Bare ngwana saleng o gwela tharing. So ke kwele ngwana o mongwe alla are arekwe. Ne le molato wa ka. Because I should have said we have the most qualified interpreters. They are here, and all of you have the right to speak in any language of your choice. We will interpret, because every little thing that each one of you say is very, very important to us. Because when we go to parliament, we don't want to represent our jackets. We want to represent what you will have said. But you can see on the side, we have peace officers. So if there's something that is causing disquiet, you don't have to shout at us. You can just call one of them and tell them. And if we are out of order, they will put us in order. And as the chairperson of this committee, I'm also not a little dictator. I sit with all these leaders here, and if I'm out of order, they have the right to tell me that I'm out of order. So regardless of their political affiliation, we are going to act as one, because we represent one parliament of the Republic of South Africa. There are not many parliaments. It's only one parliament. There are there's another MP who is here. His name is Boy Mamabulo, and another member of the local provincial house. We didn't get the name. We still expect other members of the committee from the economic freedom fighters who are members of this committee. When they come, they will just walk up to the stage and sit here. But members of parliament who are not members of this committee may not sit with us because we sit in front as the committee. Also, I was not good in arithmetic and mathematics at school. That's why I'm only a professor of law, not mathematics. So I'm not going to keep time. Those who were good in mathematics, like Honorable Soma on my side, Honorable Matlatsi on my other side, will keep time. They will give me instructions because we are going to give each speaker 3 minutes so that all of you who want to speak must be able to speak. And therefore, if you take 1 minute more, other people will demand 1 minute more or 2, then we will have disorder and be unfair to other people. And we want to be fair to all of you. As far as I'm concerned as the chairperson, I am colorblind, and I'm governed by the principle of equality. I'm going to treat all of you equally so that when we live here, there's nobody who feels that they were discriminated against. And we also believe in the principle of consultation. We don't dictate. We have consulted with the leaders of the political parties that are here, and they have agreed amongst themselves and between themselves and ourselves that we'll take 10 hands on both sides at a time. I say both sides because I'm guided by the camera. So that camera is the one that has created 2 sides. So I will take 10 from my left and then 10 from my right. And then when they have spoken, we will take another 10 and 10. And then because there are other law-abiding and self-respecting people of Limpopo who are outside, who may want to come in and speak. At some point, when everybody in the hall has spoken, we will request that those that have spoken should then go out so that those that are outside should come in and speak. We have 3 hours for this process, but we are saying we are not the creatures of time. Time is our creature. So if there are still people who have to speak and the 3 hour has expired, we will exceed that 3 hours because our principle based in the Freedom Charter says no government can legitimately claim authority unless it is based on the will of the people. You represent the people, you are the people, so we are not going to do anything against your will. Otherwise, the authority that we exercise in Parliament will be illegitimate authority. So we are not going to do that. So I guess we can start, but what I'm going to do as well is that after both sides have spoken, I will give an opportunity to the royal leaders. Some people call them traditional leaders. I don't believe that. I think they are royal leaders. And maybe from today, they won't call themselves traditional leaders. They will call themselves royal leaders. So I'll give them an opportunity to speak because they also represent the masses of our people. I'm going to start. The qualified interpreters are here, so they will do their work. And I will request that even if someone says something that you support 100%, don't make noise and shout, because the microphones will capture the noise and not the substance. And we are here for the substance. Some of you may put the question quite legitimately: why are you here again? Because the Constitutional Review Committee was here before. The purpose of the Constitutional Review Committee was to put one question, and that question was: is it desirable or not to amend the Constitution to allow for expropriation of land without compensation? And because we are a democratic people, the democratic majority said, yes, it is desirable that we amend the Constitution to allow amendment of the Constitution to allow expropriation of land without compensation. Now, after you have said yes, the amendment must be done, Parliament sat and agreed that we must come back to you to ask the second question. That second question is: what must be the content of the amendment that you want to see? So today, we don't want to be told that you want an amendment of the Constitution. Today, we want you to tell us what must be the content of the new amendment. And those who have notes, after you have spoken, leave your notes with us. Even if you have not said everything that is in your notes, we will take your notes, and when we go to Parliament, we will give due consideration to the notes that you have given us. We are a representative and a participatory democracy. The fact that you elected all of us to represent you in Parliament doesn't make us the cleverest members of society. It's only that we cannot all go to Parliament. If we were the cleverest, we would not come back to you to ask you about the content of the new amendment. We don't have the monopoly of wisdom. The wisdom resides with you, the people. That's why we have come back to you, the people. And today is not our day, it's your day. You will also see that we are not even going to comment on what your input, because at the end of the process, Parliament will ensure that it compiles a report based on what you have said, not what we want for consideration. So I am going to start by guiding the process in terms of the agreement between the leadership of all the parties here in represented. We will take 10 from this side, 10 from this side. But we have, I was told that there are 2 mics. Oh no, it's only 1 mic. So we will share this 1 mic at the center. But because our parliamentary staff respect you and your well-being and your health, after every speaker, they will sanitize the mic to ensure that we are all safe and healthy, because your health is our wealth and the wealth of the Republic of South Africa. So I will take 10 hands this side, and if you are not amongst the 10, don't worry, because we will come back and take another 10 until we are sure that all of you who wants to speak on both sides have spoken. So can I take the hands on my left? And you will be given stickers, and only people who have stickers then will come to the mic and speak and go back, and then I will sit down so that I don't create disorder myself. Thank you. I will request that when you speak, remove the mask so that your voice is clear. It's a temporary exemption.
Realocha. Okay, yeah, ke dumela opportunity ke rata go le ba sebaka se for ad hoc committee e re fileng sona re tle re gone go addressa problem ya land issue. Problem ya land issue is a thorny theme mo bophelong jwa rena ona jwala ka re dilo tse dintsi tse di tlhaga mo kamka letlalo le kwang botlhoko ke kwala ke letlalo la batho ba bantsho. So ke support re tlamile change ka mabaka a latelanga. Gone jwale re le batho ba bantsho as custodian of the land, re treatiwa jwale ka no e bia no treatiwa ka ditshwene. Motho montsho mo lefatshe la gabo la Africa or la South Africa re bone jwale ka ditshwene. Gone jwale go tlo lebella ka mo gore re treatiwang ka gona, re patela di rente le mo go unnecessarily. Go na di bond house di aga ke tsona di banka tse le re di liang di own ke what monopoly capital. So lefatshe la rona ra le nyaka le fase jwa ona le godimo la lona gobane go na di mineral tse le gane jalo di a tloga di a tsamaya di lo diang di lo fortify business ya tsa batho ba bantsho. Whereas ka mo South Africa gane jalo re na le bothata jwa employment. Di mineral tsa rona di a tsewa ka fase ga lefase di lo iswa America, di fika ka America di liang di bula dikgoba tsa mebereka ko bana ba kwa ba bereka. Rena re swereng di raw materials ka mo ke rena re sokolang. And e ba bohloko tabe ka go go so le le tsona jalo mo ruling party re file platform re vote in 1994, and one of their main objective in any issue land. So re ba vote they are in power, but in power ba sa tla gore na ba re instead of implementing one of their objectives, still ba sa tla gore na ba re vote ba re a le nyaka le fast. So question ko gore no ANC go bo fomega go nyaka go tlo shalo o chaba o ya ka ntle, we are no seek a refugee, we are in exile. It was because of nyaka land.
Thank you. What he was saying was he would like to thank you for having came here so that they can make contributions toward amendment of section 25. This is an important topic because them as black people, they were being looked upon, down upon. So they were being seen as very much an important part of the nation. And if we look around now, there are no jobs, but we do have minerals in the country. And these minerals are now being taken abroad for other business reasons. So it is important that this program be attended to so that the section 25 could become useful as well to the black nation. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Zachariah Logodi from Seshego. I stand to support the amendment of section 25 of the Constitution in order to make the expropriation of land without compensation possible. Number one, the state, including parliament, the executive and judiciary, carry an obligation to redress the imbalances of the past through enactment of laws that will achieve redress and quality redistribution of all resources. Number two, property may be expropriated without compensation, subsection A, only in terms of law of general application, subsection B, or a public purpose, or in public interests. Number three, the state should be the custodian of all South Africa's natural resources, including land, minerals, and water, and relevant legislation should be passed to clearly define and contextualize state custodianship of natural resources. Number four, for the purpose of this action, subsection A, the public interest include the nation's commitment to the land reform and the reform to bring about the equitable access to all South African resources, and subsection B, property is not only limited to land. Number five, that the private property in land ownership must cease or stop to exist and be replaced with common ownership of land by the people as a whole. Number six, that the state take reasonable legislative and other measures within its available resources to forest conditions which enable citizens to gain access to land of an equitable basis. Number seven, a person's community whose tenure of land is legally insecure as a result of the past racially discriminatory laws or practice is entitled to the extent provided by an act of parliament, either to tenure which is legally secure or to comparable redress. Number eight, no provision of this section may be or may impede the state from taking legislative and other measures to achieve land and water and related reform in order to redress the results of the past racial provisions of this section in accordance with the provisions of section 36 subsection 1, sorry. And then the last one, Parliament must enact the legislation referred to in section 6. Thank you. Lastly, we also need to know that who he benefits through crime is equally guilty of that crime, and you know what was stolen in the past. Thank you.
Trovela lina la ka ke Sello Kobe o tswa Botokwa Magato le Tjatjana ke rata o tja sebaka se ke dumedise batho
My name is Sello Kobe from Butokwa, Amachachan.
Magato le Tjatjana. I stand to support the amendment of section 25 of the Constitution in order to make the expropriation of land without compensation possible, and the content of this amendment must be not limited to the state must take reasonable legislative and other measures within its available resources to focus conditions which enable citizens to gain access to land of an equitable basis. And again, on the content, a person, community whose tenure of land is legally insecure as a result of the past racially discriminating laws or practice entitled entitled to the extent provided an act parliament either to tenure which is legally secure or to compare redress. And another important content which must be included in section 25, no provision of this section may impede the state from taking legislative and other measures to achieve land and water and related reform in order to redress the result of the past racial provisions of this section is in accordance with the provisions of section 36, subsection 1. And lastly, Parliament must enact the legislation referred to in section 6. Ke tšee sebaka se ke leboge mokgatlo wa Economic Freedom Fighters o ile wa atiša motion o ka hara Parliament ya rena ya Afrika Borwa.
Let me also take this opportunity to thank the organization of EFF for having brought the motion to Parliament.
Mola e le gore ne re na le mokgatlo e le gore ne o robetse mengwaga ya go feta 25 re leboa morwa Malema o etella EFF ka hara Parliament a leta motion wa land expropriation without compensation re re malene modimo a metelle pele a mo fe bophelo ke a leboga.
While we had an organization that spent 25 years in Parliament not doing its job, we are saying the son of Malema must continue doing the good job. Thank you very much.
Ke a leboga ke Diana Motlhabeng
Thank you. It's Diana Mutabeng.
from Ward 14 ka Seshego. I stand to support the latter speaker on the amendment of section 25 of the Constitution
Can you speak to the
in
mic?
order to make the expropriation.
Come closer to the mic.
I stand to support the latter speaker on the amendment of section 25 of the Constitution in order to make the expropriation of land without compensation possible. That the state must take reasonable legislative and other measures within its available resources to forest conditions which enable citizens to gain access to land of an equitable basis. A person, community whose tenure of land is legally and secure as a result of past racially discriminatory laws or practice is entitled to the extent provided by an act parliament, either to turn which is legally secure or to comparable redress. No provision of this section may impede the state from taking legislative and other measures to achieve land and water and related reform in order to redress the results of past racial provision of this section is in accordance with the provision of section 36.1. Parliament must enact the legislation referred to in section 6. Ka boripana re no bontšha gore re ema le molao o gore o change gore naga e boele go beng ba yona ka ntle le go ntšha sente. Ke a
In
leboga.
brief, we just want to say we support the amendment of section 25 for the land to go back to its rightful owners. Thank you.
Ke dumedisa batho ka moka ba ba leng ka mo.
I greet everyone who is in here.
Leina la ka ke Lesole Seakamela from Botokwa Sefene.
My name is Lesole Siakamela from Butokwa.
Under local municipality Mole Ward 7. Ke ema le di bule di ka moka tše di se tše di fitile mo.
I do concur with everyone who has spoken before me.
Ka baka la go thompha nako nka se buseletše tše ba di apileng ke dumela gore recording di tatatsela gore batho ba be ba reng ka moka ke dumelana le bona.
Because of time, I wouldn't take much of the time that has already been spent, but I do concur with everyone.
I think we have talked a lot about the land. We are tired about talking about the land. We want the land back. We want to be the owners of the land. We want to work the land. We want to produce food for ourselves. So, ka o rialo ka boripana ke a leboa. ke le sia ka gore mo leng mushi ke mollo ntate Bongani Bongo.
I just want to thank you and also saying that where there's chaos, obviously there's something, Mr. Bongo. Thank you very much.
I'm okay now? Okay. Thank you. I stand to support, I, Fighter Matsuwani Michael Ledo, stand to support the amendment of Section 25 of the Constitution in order to make the expropriation of land without compensation possible. Under the following reason: the state should be the custodian of all South Africans' natural resources, inclusive of land. Define and contextualize state custodianship of natural resources. For the purpose of this action, the public interest include the nation's commitment to the land reform and the reform to bring about the equitable access to all South African resources, and property is not limited to the land. I also stand under the following reason: that the state must take the reasonable legislative and other measures with its available resources to forest conditions with enable citizens to gain access to land on an equitable basis. Right, ke a leboha. The issue ya land e botlhokwa when coming to this thing.
The issue of land is very much important when it comes to this thing.
Re na le bana ba borena ba ba tsamayang le distrata ba tsubang dinyaope.
We have our own brothers who are using nyaupes.
So ge re ka tšea this land ra e commercialize.
So if we can commercialize the land,
tla be re create mebereko
we
bana
would
ba
have
borena.
created the jobs that are needed.
Ntho e tla be khosa re bana ba borena their mind e be busy, then ba tlo tloga ka the issue ya crime.
That will keep them busy so that they stay away from crime.
So the land question has many things mo godimo ga yona. For example, if re tšea the land re dira the agricultural related matters, bana ba borena ba tlo ya temong ba tšwela pele ba kgona go kitirela mebereko ra tlogela the issue ya crime ya wela fase ke a leboga.
So if we take land for agricultural purposes, our own siblings will take an opportunity for such, and I want to thank you for that.
Thanks.
Thobela ka moka setšhaba sa gešo.
Good day, everyone.
Nna ke nna Hendrik Moletsane go tswa ka ga Makanye.
My name is Hendrik Muleza from Makanye.
Molawana wa section 25 ko amogela 10 times 100.
I do accept this Section 25 amendment many a times.
Ke bolela jwalo ka lebaka la gore mmušo wa rena ke kgale re bolela ka land, gomme re a tšofala re bolela ka land. Tše ka moka tšona di dirilwe godimo ga polelo ya land, e fela re no boya ntše re boya gantši gana ka mo le re kgobaketšang ka mo.
I'm saying this because we've been talking about this as government, but nothing has been happening. Instead, we see you coming back to us talking about the very same issue.
Seo ke se tsebišang ke se, ge le e bona ntwe setse e fetogile Baebele, mo ke etang ke tsena ka gona go nyakega pampiri fela ya botlhatse bja go bontšha gore ke mo kae mo o tla tsenang wa bereka, e le ge ke lebeletše mmušo wa ka ka baka la pušetšo ya mobu.
Just by looking at this book, it's just sort of a Bible, because everywhere I go, I'm being requested to produce a particular document as a result of me requesting for a space for land to work on.
Seo ke se kgopelang ka moka Morena Bongo, re išetše molaetša o mo presidente gore re a kgopela a re nyake go eta re laola ke makgowa a re phale ka selo, ba re phala fela ka o bontšha maatla a bona godimo ga lena, go ra gore ge le palela ko tshela leboto le makgowa le beileng ka pele le a re palela le a re šaetša bana ba tharientsho re bola ke tlala.
What I'm requesting, Mr. Bongo, is just to take this message to the president. We are begging you very much so, and it's not like the white folks are better than us. It's just that we are living things, not attended to.
go bontšha Bible e nna ke e tshwereng ka mogare ga yona e na le dilo ka moka tšeo di be di bontšha bohlatse bja se wena palamente o ka se nyakang godimo ga ka.
You would have everything that you wanted as a parliament. This is the booklet that has everything that you would have asked for.
Ge tšhelete e se gona ya o nthuša godimo ga pampiri e o tla beng o mphile yona dikgerekgere tše ke beng le tšona di ka sempalediše go ija ga ka le bana ba South Africa ka moka.
If there's no funding for what I'm doing, the infrastructure that I already have cannot fail me to continue with what I'm doing for my family and my kids. Thank you very much. We have compiled it.
Can we get Ndate, re ka kry-a copy ya information eo.
Can we have a copy of that information?
Re tla re ba lokiše ba kry-e mabitso ao le document e re tla dira di-copy.
They'll get your particulars so that that document can reach us.
Let me greet you all. My name is Alex Mwashengi from Ward 24, Makotopo. Yeah, I stand to support the amendment of Section 25 to allow expropriation of land without compensation. One other thing I would like to say is that we have been talking about this issue of land. If you can check, most of the people like I am, we are from communal lands, the lands that are not under the traditional leaders. Even today, we don't have a legislation that rules those communal lands. We are having a problem of land. And we keep on talking about it like this. The committees are being created up until the black majority lose the majority in parliament. Because we only need 2/3 to amend the constitution. If we can check, go back to 1994, we used to have that majority, but we never did anything about the land. We just talk on TV, take pictures, take microphone like now, we speak about the expropriation of land, but those who are in charge are not doing the right thing. Now what I'm pleading with you now is that, please, we are begging you, bring back our land. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. My name is Gladys Mmadi from Lepelle Municipality. Chairperson, the EFF shall command and lay the law, and the governing party shall follow as we command them what they should do. As the EFF, we say the private property in the land ownership must stop to exist in replacement of common ownership of the land by the people as a whole. Honorable Motshekga, I follow you. Since I was young, you were teaching us about our inheritance and culture. As I speak now, the manager reina, but the white people are coming there. They inherit our diamonds. They inherit our copper. They inherit our gold. And the painful part, as I follow you, Honorable, is that we are going through a pain of digging our own grandparents' graves. Because of utlishije banna ba China go tloepa di mineral. I follow you, Honorable Mr. Motshekga. Myself at the age of 40s, I don't know what I'm going to tell my grandchild. Because he has been removed from the place where he wanted to rest in peace. And I'm saying this, let the land come back to the black people. We also want to own that place, those land. We also want to own those mines. Rinyaka gore 2 rivers kwa ga Sekhukhune. E tlogele go tlosha batho ba ga madi e owner e re tshepisha tshele. We don't want money ya fela. Rinyaka go mine ka kwa le rena re bonagala our grandparents ba robale ka peace, because we are lost as African nation. Gore ge re nyaka go bolela le borrakgolo khukhu wa rena ba ba tlošitše mabitleng a bona gale ba ba bea mabitleng a nyakang ke government e bušang gone jwale because of e nyaka go ja le ma-China. Thank you.
We just want Two Rivers to stop removing people from Madi because they are removing our graves, and we just need to, as we speak to our ancestors, we should be able to do so without any disturbance. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, members of the committee, members of the community. My name is Julius Matlabane from Polokwane. What we all know is the 1913 Native Land Act was so devilish and satanic. So indeed, as the EFF or as the community, what we want to push is for the state, including parliament, executive and judiciary, to carry an obligation to redress the imbalances of the past through encouragement of the laws that will achieve redress and quality redistribution of all resources. Coming to that, we want to assist the government as the EFF, we want to give them a catalyst, which is land expropriation without compensation, for them so that they could replace that land reform, the NDP or the so-called Vision 2030. It speaks much of protecting our people, but implementation dololo. So we're saying as the EFF, we're pushing, we're giving you a catalyst, address this matter with land expropriation without compensation. In closing, when I chairperson of the committee, let me challenge you. You gave us materials here, you forget, or this is public. Some people are differently abled. They can't read this thing. Section 9 of the Constitution allows that, or braille, such things. Improve that at the next address to the community. Thanks very much.
I told you that we are a collective, and some members of this collective have not yet arrived, and leaders are not late, they are just delayed. Now, one of the leaders who was delayed has just arrived. Can I ask him to introduce himself before we proceed?
Thanks, Honorable Chair. When one arrives late or delayed like this, one remembers a leader of a communist party who arrived 2 hours late to an event. And upon arrival, he says, so perhaps I must also ask, le simula ya mmereko o economic freedom fighters is okay na. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Matolo Motsecha and fellow members of parliament. My name is Sam Matthias. I am a member of the National Assembly, sits in the Committee on Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development. I represent the glorious movement here in this province. Amandla.
Have everybody spoken from this side, the 10? Now, with your permission, we shall take hands this side. You will be given stickers, and only people with stickers may, no, the royal leaders must not be given stickers. I'll give them their opportunity.
Program Director Dr. Matole Motsecha le badirišane mmogo ka wena maloko a parlamente setšhaba ka moholong, a very good morning to you. Ke Mariri wa Ralfatane go tšwa wa 24 Makotopong mo Polokwane local municipality. I stand to state that the ANC support the expropriation of land as a just and equitable process to restore the dignity of our people in addressing the land question and the appropriation of land without compensation is part of that process. We are convinced by evidence that the willing buyer, willing seller model did not work. Chairperson, for the ANC, land reform is about redressing historical injustice and dispossession of the black majority. It is also a vital opportunity to unlock growth and promote socio-economic transformation. The ANC's land reform program provides a radical way to address the land question and build productive assets for our people and ensure food security. Chairperson, as the ANC, we submit that on Section 25, Clause 1, 4, 5, 6, and 9 should remain as they are. On Clause 2, we make the following amendments. Add a new subclause 2C, which must read as follows. Subject to without compensation or nil compensation under condition laid out in a law of general application. On Clause 3, which speaks about property, we make the following amendments. To the first line of the clause, everything after that remains the same, to read as follows. Where compensation is payable, the amount of the compensation and the time and manner of payment must be just and equitable, etc. On Clause 7, we make the following submission, that for the purpose of this hearing only, the text remains as is. On Clause 8, we make the following amendment in the first line of the clause as follows, and everything thereafter remains the same. No provision of this section, including the payment of compensation, may impede the state, etc. Expropriation of land is a just and equitable process to restore the dignity of our people. This expropriation must be done by an executing authority, which is the executive, and only where there is a dispute which cannot be resolved can it be referred to the judiciary. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. My name is Dineo Makura. I'm from the African National Congress. I'm saying I'm from the African National Congress because we will all attest that the African National Congress has started the revolution in South Africa. The revolution was informed by the issue of land. So when we speak about issues of land, we do not even rhetoric about it, because we are in a revolution that was informed by the same land that we are speaking to today as the African National Congress. The issue of land to the African National Congress is to dignify our people, is to restore dignity to the masses of our people. That is why, as the African National Congress, we take this issue of land very serious, and we have started it long time ago when the revolution started. It is not a yesterday topic. We want to submit, as the African National Congress, in that regard, that Section 25, Clause 1, 4, 5, 6, and 9 should remain as they are. On Clause 2, we make the following amendments. That we add the new Clause 2C, which must read as follows. Subject to without compensation or nil compensation under conditions laid in a law of general application. Remember, we'll speak the same language because land is our issue as the African National Congress. We'll not rhetoric as I've said about it. That on Clause 3, which speaks about property, we make the following amendments. To the first line of the clause, everything after that remains the same, to read as follows. Where compensation is payable, the amount of compensation and the time, the manner of payment must be just and equitable, etc. and etc. On Clause 7, we make the following submission, that for the purpose of this hearing, only text remains as is. On Clause 8,
we make the following amendments in the first line of the clause as follows, and everything thereafter remains the same. No provision of this section, including payment of compensation, may impede the state, and etc. We must conclude, comrades, by saying that as the African National Congress, everyone knows that we are here or we exist because of the issue of land, and we will continue to make sure that land goes to our people. As I conclude, thank you very much.
Thanks very much. Greetings to the Thank you, Chairperson. Can I have that maximum protection?
No, no, people have the right to be dissatisfied. We must address the dissatisfaction. But it depends on how the dissatisfaction is raised. I hope the dissatisfaction has been dealt with. Can we proceed? And all the speakers must be protected. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Machaga Matole Jimmy, a member of the African National Congress in Capricorn, Pitamukaba region. Let me first note the late arrival of Sir Matthias, and also plead that in future events, don't invite us here. We come early and you come late. Secondly, let me applaud the ruling party, both in government and in parliament, for having listened to the people of South Africa when they made a continuous call for the land expropriation without compensation. This call, like my fellow have indicated, is not a call that comes in today. It is a call that has been there for some time, and now as the society, we are reaffirming you in parliament that use your majority, of course working with some smaller Nyana party to make sure that land expropriation without compensation becomes a reality. This meeting of today should also note these distinctive features. All these other speakers who spoke before, members of the ANC, you might note that they were making submission in a general context. I don't know is because they don't know that section 25 has subsection now or not. It will appear themselves. The only thing that they focus themselves around is only section 25 and nothing else. And therefore, as the African National Congress, our submission goes beyond section 25. It also has subsection in itself.
I want to make an appeal to all speakers that every speaker must speak to the issue and not criticize others or cast aspersions, because that may lead to disorder. Please. Yeah, please.
Chairperson, you can't take away the distinctive submission between.
No, Matole. No. I'm not going to allow that.
Okay, thanks.
To allow that.
Chairperson, be that it may.
Yes, yes. Okay. Please proceed.
Am I still protected,
No,
Chairperson?
I have addressed the dissatisfaction. He won't repeat it. Proceed.
Yeah, thanks, Chairperson. In respect of clause 1, clause 4, 5, 6, and 9, the African National Congress is making a submission that those clauses should remain as they appear in the Constitution. In respect of clause 2, we submit that it should be read as follows: subject to compensation or nil compensation under the conditions laid out in the law of general application. In respect of section 25, clause 3, The ANC submissions are as follows. Where compensation is payable, the amount of compensation and time and manner of payment must be just and equitable. The reason why I'm making this submission is because you might have realized that in terms of the willing buyer, willing seller approach, those that are selling that particular land back to their rightful owners, they just charge exorbitant prices that are not reasonable and not accordance with the market. In respect of clause 7, we make the following submission that it should remain for the purpose of this hearing. And in respect of section 25, clause 8, we make the following submissions.
Thank you. We accommodated the interjections, so we didn't treat you unfairly. Proceed.
Revolutionary greeting to you all. I go by the name of Malika Tsibo. I state that the ANC support exploration of land as a just and equitable process to restore the dignity of our people in addressing the land questions, and the exploration of land without compensation is part of that process. We are convinced by the evidence that the willing buyer or willing seller model did not work. For the ANC, land reform is about redressing historical injustice and disposition of the black majority. It is also a vital opportunity to unlock growth and promote social economic transformation. The ANC's land reform program provides a radical way of addressing the land questions and build productive access for our people and ensure food security. We submit that on section 25, clause 1, 4, 5, 6, and 9 should remain as they are. On cluster 2, we make the following amendment. We add a new clause 2C, which reads as follows. Subject to without compensation or nil compensation under condition laid out in a law of general application. On cluster 3, which speak about property, we make following amendments to the first line of the clauses. Everything after that remain the same, to read as follows. Where compensation is payable, the amount of the compensation and the time and manner of payment must be just, equitable, etc. On cluster 7, we make the following submission, that for the purpose of this hearing, only the text remains as it. On cluster 6, we make the following amendment in the first line of the clause as follows, and everything thereafter remain the same. No provision of the section, including the payment of compensation, may impede the state. In conclusion, the appropriation of land is just an equitable process to restore the dignity of our people. This exploration must be done by an executive authority, the executive, and only where there is disputes which cannot be resolved can it then be referred to the unjust city. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Allow me to greet you all. My name is Naged Mage from the ANC Mpogodiba branch. Na kiemetse fela mo go fetisha molawana wa 25.
I'm just standing here to pass on the section 25.
A ke nyake go repeata se baetapele ba ka ba African National Congress ba se boletseng.
I don't want to repeat what my leadership from the African National Congress said.
Ke tlhompha nako.
I do respect time.
Ke rata go bontsha fa gore naga a re thome go ilwela maabane go ba maloba ke gale re ilwela.
I just want to indicate that it's not like it's yesterday that we fought for the land. It's been long.
Jale Chairperson re gopela naga ke nako re nyaka go ishumisha ke gale re ilwela naga ya rena.
Now, Chairperson, we just want the land back. Please, we want to make use of it.
E re ke go leboge Chairperson.
Thank you very much,
Ke tlhomphe
Chairperson.
nako.
Let me respect time.
if you can take notes so that you don't interpret preambles, you interpret the recommendations after the speaker has spoken.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm Rahadi Ramezi from Ward 9, Polokwane. As the ANC, we stand here to support the issue of the land expropriation of land without compensation, and also to show that our democracy, under the leadership of ANC, has shown a very matured situation in the fact that we can observe this moment where each and everyone will come here and debate about this issue of land, of this land. And also to acknowledge the fact that the ANC has long deal about this issue of land. And on these issues, as the ANC, we want to submit that section 25, clause 1, 4, 5, and 6, and 9 should remain as they are. On clause 2, we make the following amendment, and a new subclause section 2C, which must read as follows: subject without compensation or nil compensation under condition laid out in the law of general application. And on clause 3, which speak about the property, which makes the following amendment to the first line of clause. Everything after that remain the same to the following. When compensation is payable, the amount of compensation and the time and manner of payment must just be equitable, etc. On clause 7, we make the following submission, that the following purpose of this hearing only the text remain as it is. On clause 8, we make the following amendment in the first line of the clause as the following, and everything thereof remain the same. No provision of the section, including payment of compensation, may be impeded as the state, etc. And in conclusion, we like to thank our Parliament for this process. We know that this process starts from the draft to the green paper to the white paper up until it becomes the legislature. And therefore, we are willing and we are showing that the democracy that the ANC has provided for the people of South Africa, so that these people will debate about this matter, will engage about this matter and find the solution of the people of South Africa. It is not all about the emotion of us. It is about the willingness of these people of this country. And therefore, we want to submit that as ANC, we are going to deal with this matter soberly, so as this matter has been, as we have seen under the developed countries, that this expropriation of land has failed because of the people who didn't
Thank you very much, Chairperson. My name is Borogo Chavini. I'm a resident of South Africa living in Ivy Park in Polokwane. I therefore stand here in support of the move to expropriation of land without compensation. I also wish if everybody who is here to stand up and read whatever it can be, even a tautology, so that you guys, you can listen and hear what we're trying to say, because this is our main concern of land. So therefore, as an ANC, that land is about redressing historical injustice and dispossession of a black majority. It is also a vital opportunity to unlock growth and promote social transformation. The ANC Land Reform Program provides a radical way to address the land question and build productive assets for our people, ensure food security. We therefore submit that on Section 25, Clause 1, 4, 5, 6, and 9 should remain as they are. Point 2, on Clause 2, we make the following amendment. Add new subclause 2C, which must read as follows. Subject to without compensation or nil compensation under condition laid out in law of general application. On Clause 3, which speaks about property, we make the following amendment to the first line of the clause. Everything after that remains the same. To read as follows. Where compensation is payable, the amount of compensation and time and manner of payment be just and equitable, etc. On Clause 7, we make the following submission that for the purpose of these hearings, only the text remains as is. On Clause 8, we make the following amendment. In the first line of the clause as follows, and everything thereafter remains the same. No provision of the section, including the payment of compensation, may impede the states, etc. In conclusion, expropriation of land is just an equitable process to restore the dignity of our people. The expropriation must be done by executing authority and the executive, and only where there is a dispute which cannot be resolved can it then be referred to the judiciary. I thank you.
Don't worry about the noise outside. The leadership is addressing that situation. And we must also understand that some ground rules that we agreed on, all of us, may not be known by those who came late. So let's proceed with our work. Proceed.
Okay, thank you, Chairperson. I'm Mokhonyana Nevin from Flip Logodi branch, Ward 17. It is important to amend the Section 25 of the Constitution because we as youth, we can see how it affects us. It affects us. The amendment of Constitution of Section 25 of the Constitution must be implemented because it's then that we as youth can have opportunities to be able to inject money into the economy of South Africa and skills development. If we regain our own land, it's then that we'll be able to create a lot of things and opportunities for South African people. Because now it is like a stampede. We as youth, we no longer see opportunities for the future because of we don't even have land. If we regain land, it's then that we will be able to sustain a lot of things. Our people will get to train themselves into skills, business people, and our economy will be better. Thank you.
As I said, the people who were making noise are not disrespectful. They didn't know what we had agreed. The leadership has addressed them. Now they know how we are going to proceed. So when you have spoken, you will go out, they will have an opportunity to come in. Proceed.
Chairperson of the session, Honorable Professor Motshekga, and the delegation that you are actually leading, good morning. My name is Calvin Masora, a member of the ANC, coming from Zebediela. Land remains the paramount matter which must be dealt with to make sure that the dignity of the people of South Africa is adhered to. When the ANC was formed in 1912, its primary objective was to ensure that we restore the dignity of the people of our country. And it is for this reason that we submit that Section 25, Clause 1, 4, 5, 6, and 9 should remain as they are. On Clause 2, we make the following submission on behalf of the ANC. Add a new subclause 2C, which must read as follows: subject to without compensation or nil compensation under the condition laid out in law and general application. 3, clause 3, which speaks about property, we make the following amendments to the first line of the clause. Everything after that remains the same, to read as follows: where compensation is payable, the amount of compensation and the time and manner of payment must be equitable. Clause 7, we make the following submissions: that for the purpose of this hearing, only the text remain as is. Clause 8, we make the following amendments in the first line of the clause as follows, and everything thereafter remains the same. No provision of this, including payment of compensation, may impede the state, etc. In conclusion, Chairperson, the expropriation of land is a just and equitable process to restore the dignity of our people. This expropriation must be done by executing authority, the executive, and only where there is a dispute which cannot be resolved can it be referred to the judiciary. We are making this further humble appeal that this process must be done in our lifetime. I thank you, Chairperson.
Modulasetulo le komiti ya gago dintlo tša bogoši tše di lego gona fa ntumeleleng ke tšee sebaka se ke le tamišeng mesong ya letšatši la lekgono. Leina la ka ke nna Mpho wa ga Masekela, ke tšwa ko Makotopong lebatong la bo 24 la masepala wa gešo wa Polokwane. The ANC support the expropriation of land as a just and equitable process to restore the dignity of our people in addressing the land question and the expropriation of land without compensation. It's part of that process. We are convinced as the ANC by evidence that the willing buyer, willing seller did not work. For the ANC, land reform is about redressing the historical injustices and disposition of the land of the black majority. It is also a vital opportunity to unlock growth and promote socio-economic transformation. The ANC's land reform program provides a radical way to address the land question and build productive assets for our people and ensure food security. So as the ANC, we want to submit that the following clauses remain the same. Clause 1, 4, 5, and 6. 6 and 9 should remain the same. On clause 2, we make the following amendments and add a new subclause 2C, which must read as follows: subject to without compensation or nil compensation under conditions laid out in a law of general application. On clause 3, would want clause 3, which speaks to the property. We make the following amendments to the first line of the clause, and everything after must remain the same, to read as follows: where compensation is payable, the amount of compensation and the time and manner of a payment must be just and equitable. On clause 4, number 4, on clause 7, we make the following submission: that the purposes of this hearing, only the text remain as is. On clause 8, we make the following amendments in the first line of the clause as follows, and everything after remains the same. No provision of this section, including payment of compensation, may impede the state. In conclusion, expropriation of land is a just and equitable process to restore the dignity of our people. Expropriation must be done by an executing authority, the executive, and only where there is a dispute which cannot be resolved, it can be referred to a judiciary. We therefore seek to wish that all the inputs made in this public participation can find expression in Parliament. I thank you, Chairperson.
I just want to make an appeal that we don't have backbenchers here. So the people at the back, I'm going to give you an opportunity to speak. So if you walk out, you will miss your opportunity. So can people at the back on both sides not go before they have the opportunity to speak?
Ke a leboga, Chair Prof Motshekga le collective ya lena for the opportunity. Leina la ka ke nna Soli Mahlaji go tswa ka kua lebatong la bone la mo Polokwane. Ke tamiše magoši a borena maaparangkwe le magagešo ka mo mafaitha ga borena re tloga re thabile kudu komiti ya ga borena o ka re ebile ke lebeletše ke nna mafelelo wa go etswalela gore the issue ya compensation, I mean expropriation of land without compensation, amendment bill ya rena eventually oreng e diragala ka potlako le re ge le fihla mo la parlamenteng Dr. Motshekga le ska ba la senya nako ke gale freedom charter e bontšhitše gore the land shall be shared amongst those who work on it. Willing buyer, willing seller, le bone re lekile dipadile bana ba thari ntsho ba nyaka go bona mmu o buetšwe go bona le nna re ke ska senya nako ke ska bušeletša tše ba etapele ba di bontšhitše go fa ka gore re a kwa le ka montle go na le moya o mobose wa go bua uetša tabe ya gore a re expropriating ka pela ka bjako. So e reng ke no bontšha mo gore in respect of clause, I mean section 25 clause 1, 4, 5 and 6 le 9 a di no dula ka mogodi le go ka gona. Clause 2 we make the following amendment, we add a new subclause 2C which must read as follows: subject to without compensation or nil compensation under the conditions laid out in a law of general application. Rabushara remote clause 3, which speaks about property, we make the following amendment to the first line of the clause. Everything after that remains the same, to read as follows: where compensation is payable, the amount of compensation and the time and manner of payment must be just and equitable. On clause 4.7, we make the following submission: that for the purposes of these hearings, only the text remains as is. On clause 8, we make the following amendment in the first line of the clause as follows, and everything thereafter remains the same. No provision of this section, including the payment of compensation, may impede the state. In conclusion, re rata gore re le ba Lekgotla la African National Congress, expropriation of land is a just and equitable process to restore the dignity of our people. This expropriation must be done by an executing authority, the executive, and only where there is a dispute which cannot be resolved can it then be referred to the judiciary. Re a leboga.
want hands from the back. We said there are no backbenchers. Take 10 names and give them speakers, and then let them come.
Sorry, Chair. Kinale, something point out. There's something I want to point out. Some of us we did not come here wearing any political hat.
No, you know
We
what?
just came here as neutral people. We want to actually give an input in this very city. And so the agreement for 1010 was from political hates. And so now, me as a neutral person, I want to give my own input to this session.
Let me help you. I am colorblind. When I say 10 from this side and 10 from this side, I don't look at the colors. I look at the hands. So I will come back this side. You can raise your hand. Now our 10 from this side will speak, and then we'll go back there. We will recognize you as well, because you have the right to say your say. But thank you for exerting your right. You have the right.
I greet you all in the name of land. My name is Tebogo Munyela from Seshego Ward 13. I stand to support the amendment of Section 25 of the Constitution in order to make expropriation of land without compensation possible, because under this generation, we won't achieve free decolonized education because we don't have the land. And we must not forget that we are in a country where white monopoly capital is in control of every sector of this economy. The white minority is in control of every sector of the economy, and including the maize mill, which feeds majority of our people. So we plead with you, the chairperson and the committee, that you must expropriate this land. We want the land back because we grew up in rural areas where we had small fields where our grandparents were using that for farming. So we need that land back because we need to continue with farming. So without the land, there's no way we're going to achieve anything as a country. The youth of this country is still unemployed because we don't have the land. Majority of the youth of our age, they're still roaming around the street because they don't have money to further their education. In order for us to be a country where it's peaceful, we need to get back the land. You need to give us the land back to its rightful owners. We are not going to sit and watch as like our ancestors did. This fight is for all of us in this country. So for us to be peaceful, for South Africa to develop, we need this land back. And when we say we need this land back, we're not going to say, we are doing that thing of willing buyer, willing seller. We are saying these people must bring back the land that was stolen from our ancestors. Thank you.
Trouble. Na ka lebitso ke Gabo Mokgetli ke tswa ke le mo Bogom ka fase ya Ward 11 ya Blueberg ka mo fase ya mmusho ko ratang kudukudu wa EFF ke bitsa mmusho le ba o ntse ba ba mpitsa mmusho. Alright, ke tla thoma ka ke na le dinoutsinyana tse nkile ka thushiwa o di wa dinoutsi mo e reng ke tswele pele ka jona. Alright. I stand to support the amendment of Section 25 of the Constitution in order to make the expropriation of the land without compensation possible. The state, including Parliament, Executive and Judiciary, carry on obligation to redress the imbalances of the passed through enactment of laws that will achieve redress and quality redistribution all resources. Property may expropriated without compensation. Only in terms of law of the general application or public purpose or in public interest. The state should be custodian of all South Africa's natural resources, inclusive of land, mineral resources and water, and relevant legislation should be passed to clearly define and contextualize state custodianship of natural resources. For the purpose of this action, the public interest include the nation's commitment to the land reform and the reform to bring without the equitable access to all South African resources, and property is not limited to land. That private property in land ownership must cease or stop to exist and be replaced with common ownership of land by the people as a whole. I stand to support the amendment of section 25 of the Constitution in order to make the expropriation of the land without compensation possible. That the state must take reasonable legislative and other measures within its valuable resources to forest condition with which enable citizens to gain access to land of an equitable basis. A person community whose tenure of land is legally insecure as a result of past racially discriminatory laws or practice is entitled to the extent provided by an act parliament, either to tenure which is legally secure to a compare.
Thank you. You can leave your notes. We'll take them into account.
Thank you, Chair. Ke Sefako Makgatho o jwa Ward 11 Blouberg Municipality. Ke eme fa ke supporta I stand to support the amendment of section 25 of the Constitution in order to make the expropriation of land without compensation possible. Go bolela mantšu a mantši a se o lokiša selo ko bolela di-point be ke kgopela gore ka gore ke kgale o bolelwa taba e ya mmu go beng ba ona ne ke kgopela e se ka re tšea nako e re tšere nako a re e lokišeng ka pela re tle re kgone go dira mešomo mo new generation nka boela fase.
I'm just requesting that we are not going to take time to fix this land issue so that we can create job. I'm turning back to my seat.
Thobela ba hlomphe ntate Motsega ra go hlompha wa rara le ba etapele ba rena ba bogoši tabe ya lefase ya re lisha ke nyaka le botsa gore santse re direng mmušo o swantse go iša bana ba rena dikolong ba ya science ya agriculture and ge go diwa go tsewa lefase go tsebe gore ba ile go bereka ba dia dijo difemeng tša bona ga ke jako bolela dilo tše dintšhi batho ba di boletse ke bolela e ka baka la gore ya mpelaetša ke bone naga e nngwe e lia batho ka yona mokgono ba thoma ba dia tša bona ke a leboga.
What government needs to do is to encourage students to study agricultural science so that as they do complete their studies, they can start working on the land. Thank you very much, and I don't want to waste time.
Trovela batlhomphehi ka moka ke leboa sebaka se le mpileng sona Nagliseka Mela from Bochum, Amachaba. Kimi muli nakataba ya. Yeah, I understand. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, our land. Okay. Kitaluka. Yeah, okay. No, I understand to support the amendment of the section 25 of the Constitution of Order to make the expropriation of the land without compensation of possible. That the state must take responsible legislative and other measure within its available resource to forest conditions which enable citizens to gain access to land of our equitable basis. A person of community who tenure of the land is illegally is insecure as a result of the past racially discriminationary law or practice entitled to the extent provided by an act parliament, either to return which is a legally rescue to comparable redress. No professional of this section may impede the state from taking a legislative and other result. Past racial provision of this section is in accordance with the provisions of section 36. 1, Parliament must enact the legislations referred to in section 6. Thank you.
Amandla, viva the expropriation of land without compensation, viva. Yes, why me moke Madumeja Satere from Ward 11 Polokwane. Most of the speakers have spoken on the issue of expropriation of land without compensation, and we are also here to support that the section 25 of the Constitution need to be amendment to expropriate land without compensation. So I'm not going to repeat what latter speakers have mentioned here. Mine is just to send a message to our parliament representative here that we have realized that the land is already in our hands. So when we talk here, we must sometimes even try to put some point whereby after, what must we do after we've taken land? So mine is just to ensure that the Department of Agriculture need to be sustained there and empowered to ensure that they've got enough budget after we have took the land so that they can able to fund from province and to locals and also to the nationals in terms of funds to ensure that that land expropriate is got a purpose. Because what we have realized in most of time, particularly in this issue of land claim, most of our communities, they've claimed a land, and then after that, they cannot even able to operate that land because of lack of funds. So that's why we are saying the state must make sure that the Department of Agriculture is more empowered and muscles with a budget to ensure that our purpose get executed. And also, the state must also look at the list of the land claimers. This thing of land claim is taking very long time. So now we don't know that how the state is going to react, because we are saying the land must be in the hands of the state. At the very same time, the land claim is still in progress. So there the state need to fast. That's why we are saying the state need to fast track so that that people who are claiming the land or in the progress of claiming the land knowing where they fall, because we are saying the state must belong, the land must belong to the state. And also after that land allocation, we are asking the legislative support in terms of monitoring of allocated land. And we are plea to the state that the land must distribute equally. We are also asked the state to capacitate the land bank, because most of time the land bank was subsidizing only to the white farmers. Let me put it straight like that. So we want the
Finish the sentence. Finish the sentence. Yes, finish the sentence and leave the note. Finish the sentence that you are busy with.
want the state to capacitate the land bank so that it can able to loan the poor of the poorest in order to sustain the land that it will be allocated. And the last one, Chairperson, is that one of colleges. Sorry.
No. No, that is not, it's a new sentence. You finish the sentence. Thank you.
Okay, can I say the last one?
No.
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 You know, this one is very much important. It's very much important because we have realized that.
Leave the note inside. We will consider it, but don't add another sentence. Please. Yeah. Thank you.
Modula stulo ke le tamisha le boetapele wa ka nna ke tswa lebatong la bo 29 mo masepaleng wa lepellong Kompi ke le Thobejane hle le ile la re tshepisha gore re ye sekolong re ile sekolong la boa la re tshepisha gore ge re boa sekolo re tlo hwetša mošomo dibuka tša rena mamohlaleke ga di re tšwele mohola gobane re dutše ke now since from 1977 until now ke bile sekolong ke dutše ka gae so wa sekolong ga ka nna go mpontšha gore ga go mohola kua lebatong la gešo se ke se bonang se nthuša mamohlale ke go tšea naga ela mamohlale ke a lema ke a rekiša kua modulasetulo ntate le ka letla kua lebatong la tla la bona ka kua bateng ya rena 29 se re le swaretšeng sona re se tšea mo mobung wa ba rena so rena re sa timanta naga go lena naga re e swere ka matsogo gobane ke a borakgolo a rena ga ke rate go be motelele le botšiše kgoši Islamara go Thobejane ke yena a tla le brifa mo dilong tše dingwe go tšwela pele amen.
Chairperson, you said we must go and study, and which is what we did, but after having studied what we studied, we couldn't get jobs. But right now we depend more on the land that we have, and we are making use of it profitably. If you want to see evidence to that, you can ask Khoshi Stamrao Thobejane. I don't want to take time as well. Thank you very much.
Ke a dumedisha ka moka ke thoma ka o dumedisha EFF boetapele bo bogolo ba EFF mo tafoleng le setšhaba ka moka ke a le dumedisha ka moka le ke le Mr. Mtata from Nobody Ward 5 re ne le bothata ka mo go rena ka mo Ward 5 tša di-councilora re ne le bothata di-councilor tša rena di tšea di-tendera
you know, everybody must say what comes from their heart.
All right.
Without interruption.
All right.
But I will just request that we focus on the amendment of section 25.
All right. Ke a leboga. A ke re se sengwe le se sengwe se se go fiša mo pelo se ntse go se bolele ka baka la gore re bana tafole e kgolo re re go nngwe ka re thuše le nna re a leboga ge re kgone go tšea naga re kgopela mešomo re ne le dipampiri tše dintšhi tše re setse ba re boditše gore re ka dira di-tendera re natšo ditetše ka mo magae ebile a re tsona re ka di iša ka ke kole ntate mongwe a bolela ka tšona so ke no tseba gore a gone ntho e ka tsoga e diregile so re a kgopela mmušo wa rena nko re thuše re a kgopela tše dintšhi gona nka sa kgona go di bolela ka re e be ke di swere ke re ke tlo di bolela le ntswaletše molomo ke leboga baetapele ba ka ba ia fela.
You still have time.
Thank you very much. We just wanted the government to assist us with tenders. We have many tender documents at our homes, but we know very well that we may not benefit from them. Otherwise, I had many things to say, but since you have stopped me, I couldn't proceed in that order. Thank you very much.
1, 2, and Africa! Africa! Viva fighters, viva! My name is Alfred Mothapo. I'm from Ramashishane under Ward 40. Le nna ke dumela ke a rata ke dumela go molao wa section 25 wa land gore le rena re nyaka land e ke so ke tsene sekolo di le dia Greek sekolong ke feletse sekolo ke dia Greek a ona mo ka ya gona go gopela land ba re ntsha 600 go itse ka 600 ke le ka kanya state as die financially ya go supporta batho ba wa dia Greek land re nyaka re tlimile land go wa mashashane sebora ba re botsa re he a ba itse kae so fighters re nyaka land se ke ka matsogo na rena lena ba etsa pele mo wen re ka nela re ka bolela ra re nyaka land but ge le fitla go le ya Cape Town a ona ntho le bolela a ona ntho le idea land ya rena ra e nyaka se so mongwe boletse gore bokoko ba rena ba tlhokofetse ba boloka kae ge e re wa phasa a sego le bitla le sego ba le tlositse re nyaka land.
Thank you very much. Standing here as I am, I've studied agricultural science, but without land I couldn't do anything. One other speaker said they've removed the graves of our ancestors, but and we couldn't get access to their graves. We need land and nothing else.
I just request that all speakers speak into the mic, because what you say is very important for us. If you look backward, then you are addressing the people at the back and not Parliament. Thank you.
Tobela. Ke supporta karolwana ya masomepedi-thano ka fase ya mabaka a gore re palla go khumana naga ya bana ba borena ya bokoko wa rena re be re gopela re le romela a re nya go tšea another 25 years re imetse na re gopela le tsamaye lo re tšeela na ya rena ka ba baka ga gore re palla go dira di business re tendera le di company tše digolo he ba dira di audit a rena pleke re ka ba bontšhang yona ka re a rena naga ke bontšhe taba gore rena o tshwana le nna ke dila ka petroleum industry nka se tšee ditanka tša petrole ka di beya ka gara toropo ka gore di tlo khosa mollo gore motho mongwe tša atametša bana ba bangwe re be re kgopela na re nyako e berekisa re le bontšha gore na e bereka bjang nae ya borena ke tšwa kwa naeng ya marobjane dikgomo tša borena a di na phulo ka fasa makara a re na naga re kgopela naga re e berekise le control naga just because e controla ke ba bašomo re palla go e berekisa mara re kgopela gore mmušo wa rena go o tshwereng mata le re kgopeleleng naga le boeflote le thokomele ka baka la gore e re ka re no re file matomena mara a e berekise re be re kgopela please ore kwa le ya gona le ba botse gore re kgopela naga for e berekisa ke se ka senya nako.
Please get us land, because standing here.
The orderly way in which you have conducted yourself, I'm going to take 10 from that side and hope that the same order will prevail. And only people, 10 people that are given stickers must come to the front. And after that, Marena Arena Atileng Mona, Babang Haka ba amoela ka hore they were delayed, but ke a ba amoela. Ha re fetša the 10 there at the back, ke tlo fa Marena Arena nako go bolela re kwane hore ho na le batho ba ba leng ka mo ntle who also have the right to come in and speak. We will allow them to come in so that no one who woke up to come to this meeting goes home without saying what they want to say. Because we have not come to ourselves, we have come to the people of Polokwane. Thank you very much. Can we get hands, 10 hands from that side? And include this, don't be offended if I call you a young man, because you are not my age.
Hello. Thank you very much. My name is Thabun Dlozi from the ANC from Lepelle Nkumpi. We welcome the expropriation of land
No,
with...
because he says he's neutral, I'll group him with the chiefs. Take 10 hands there, and then we'll recognize him with the chiefs. Maybe he's an aspiring chief.
Thank you. We welcome the expropriation of land without compensation, amending section 25. We must do that so fast. By next year, December, this time, November, December, this process must have been started. It must not take long, more than 20 years or 10 years or 5 years. It must be radical. We must be radical. We must do things fast. Thank you.
Tobela ke leboga sebaka se. Leina la ka ke Lesetša Trefo go tšwa Ward 40 Ramashashane Sebora. Go na le molao wa 1930 Natives Land Act o ile wa phasišiwa and wa berekela makgowa. Molao o tšeetše batho ba bantsho naga, batho ba bantsho ba šetše ka about 13% ya lefase mola makgowa abe a owner more than 80% ya lefase. Pelo ya malumaka ka mehla e botlhoko ga ntlhalosetša story ka mokgwa ba tlošitšweng ka gona mo e ba dula gona pele le maruo a bona a tšeiwa ka kgang ba tlogelwa bo dikgomo tša meratu ka mokgwa. Wale nna ke le Lesetša ke dumela gore ebile ke supporta expropriation of land as a just and equitable process to restore the dignity of our people in addressing the land question, and the expropriation of land without compensation is part of that process. We are convinced by the evidence that the willing buyer, willing seller model did not work. For the ANC, land reform is about redressing historical injustice and dispossession of the black majority. It is also a vital opportunity to unlock growth and promote social economic transformation. The ANC's land reform program provides a radical way to address the land question and building productive assets for our people and ensure food security. We submit that on section 25, clauses 1, 4, 5, 6, and 9 should remain as they are. On clause 2, we make the following amendments. Add a new subclause 2C, which must read as follows. Subject to without compensation or nil compensation under conditions laid out in a law of general application. On clause 3, which speaks about property, we make the following amendment to the first line of the clause. Everything that remains the same. To read as follows. Where compensation is payable, the amount of compensation and the time and manner of payment must be just and equitable, etc. On clause 7, we make the following submission, that for the purpose of this hearing, only the text remains as is. On clause 8, we make the following amendments in the first line of the clause as follows, and everything thereafter remains the same. No provision of this section, including the payment of compensation, may impede the state, etc. In conclusion, expropriation of land is a just and equitable process to restore the dignity of our people, in that case. This expropriation must be done by...
Thank you.
Yeah, let me quickly pass my revolutionary greetings to the guest before us and also to the audience. My name is Sama William. I'm the resident of Seychelles, and I want to participate in order to support the amendment of Section 25 of our Constitution. As we know that South Africa has the best constitution. I can say the constitution of South Africa is amongst the best in the whole world. Therefore, as a supreme law of the country, we need to be guided by this particular constitution. Today, we are before this platform to discuss the key issue amongst it's the issue of Section 25 that, and also it reads as follows. No one may be deprived of the property except in terms of the general application, and no law may be permitted or arbitration to deprive of a property. And if we can read this section, it tells that, in fact, it's just vague. We don't know whether we should take our land. We don't even know whether we should leave it. And if we leave it for who? And for what purpose? But now I'm standing here to support that we must go back to the drawing board and take our land. And I just want to give a comprehensive. I think if you drive along the old road from Gauteng or Pretoria to Polokwane, there's a huge space of land there. Game reserve. But I've never seen any animals there in those particular game reserve. Therefore, those parts of the land should be taken, and we need to use it for our people, because our people, they're just staying in one place. For example, if you can go to Tamahansi in Mukopani, you'll find a lot of shacks. People are fighting for space, while we have a huge space and we're not using that particular space. Therefore, those kind of spaces, the government need to take it and use it properly. And as I'm moving forward with my deliberation, I also need to take this gathering to the history of South Africa, where the blacks were deprived of their own land without any just. And it was very barbaric for the whites to just go to our parents.
Thank you, the time is over. Leave the notes with us.
Thank you very much. Greetings to you, Chairperson, and your colleagues. Ke kulele bolela hore go na le dintona tša magoši, baetapele ba magoši le bona re ba dumediša. Taba e ke tlo e bolelang mo ke e kgolo kudu ke no kgopela ditsebe tša lena. Ka lebitso ke nna Leslie Mojapelo from the ANC Youth League in particular. The ANC supports expropriation of land as a just and equitable process to restore the dignity of our people in addressing the land question and the expropriation of land without compensation. When we are speaking about expropriation of land as ANC, we are saying it is about redressing the historical injustices and disposition of the black majority. Chairperson, when in my brain when I was sitting down there, I was asking myself, which land are we talking about? Because we are just saying land. I think to define which land we are speaking about, we can have a clear direction of what we want. We have people they are staying in mine, but those mines, they are not doing anything for them. Those people don't even have shares in those mines. When we are talking of mines, we are talking of land. When we are talking of when we are talking of agriculture, we are talking of land. But it is not well defined. Which places, because it's not every soil that is fertile, but it is land. We need land that is well defined. We need land that we can use. Ke phela ke bona ka mo magoshing ka mo khelele na le di counseling tša lena le ya tlhatlheta bai go ne le gore dikgoši di lwela naga ba ga Mojapelo le ba ga Matsaong ka mo khike ngwana a lenyanye ka lebaka la land. It is very painful gore o re o reka stene ba o botla ba tle ba go tloshe chairperson ba o botse gore ke sa Matsaong a pase sa le sa Mojapelo re go kgopela gore nke le re thushe le rena ka mongana ga rena go tloga mo we ya mafelelo go gore the development ya land e leng gore re bolela ka yona le gona e be on the clauses tša constitution. It's kind of what we are taking the land and then we end it there. Because in the rural areas, many of our rural areas are in but they have land. So what is the use? Ya go ba le land ya go tlhoka development. Thank you very much.
Tobela. Lina la ka ke nna na repeat monam. Sorry. As from the ANC support expropriation of land as just as equitable process to restore the dignity of our people in addressing the land question, and expropriation of land without compensation is part of that process. We are convinced by the evidence that the willing buyer, willing seller model did not work. For the ANC, land reform is about redressing historical injustices, and dispossession of black majority. It is also a vital opportunity to unlock growth to promote socio-economic transformation. The ANC's land reform program provides a radical way to address the land question and build productive assets for our people and ensure food security. We submit that on Section 25 clauses 1, 4, 5, 6, and 9 should remain as they are. On clause 2, we make the following amendment and a new subclause 2C, which must read as follows: subject to without compensation or null compensation under conditions laid out in a law of general application. On clause 3, which speaks about property, we make the following amendment to the first line of the clause. Everything after that remains the same, to read as follows: where compensation is payable, the amount of the compensation and the time and manner of payment must be just and equitable, etc. On clause 7, we make the following submissions: that the purpose of these hearings only the text remains as is. On clause 8, we make the following amendment in the first line of the clause as follows, and everything thereafter remains the same. No provision of this section, including the payment of compensation, may impede the state, etc. In conclusion, expropriation of land is just as an equitable process to restore the dignity of our people. The expropriation must be done by an executing authority, the executive, and only where there is a dispute which cannot be resolved, can it then be referred to the justices.
Our royal leaders, you will agree with me that the young people outside are very law-abiding, respectful, but they are not sitting on chairs like yourselves. So we are going to take 10 who will come this side and sit in the front rows, and 10 who want to sit this side, and the royal leaders will speak last. Akere Hoshi Gislepe Iripa Kiona Izwala Vele Artomega Banavarena Baba Itwering Bama Itwaro Mabutsi Baba Linkamunke. Proceed.
Thanks very much. Greetings, Chairperson, Maparangwe, and the leadership that is here. My name is Mtsiri from Ward 37 in Seshego. Chair, I will not make repetitions from what the latter speaker or the position of the ANC that has been presented before the committee. But I would like to acknowledge the process that is being exhausted to ensure that our people are being given an opportunity to make inputs into the amendment of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa on the issue of expropriation of land without compensation. I will share sentiments with later speakers, various of them, of course, that it has been long overdue that the process of willing buyer, willing seller did not work for us. And it's high time that we must amend this constitution and take back the land back to ourselves. Therefore, Chairperson, we don't need the land for ritual purposes or any other thing, but for critical reasons like the issue of food security in the country, where the participation, you would find that the majority of people there, it's white people. And our young people, in particular black, they are not being given an opportunity to play part there, and so forth, with reasons of utilization of the land. Chair, I want to second the position of the ANC on the clauses, on section 25, clauses 1, 4, 5, and 6, which should remain the same. On clause 2, Chair, on the amendment, I also want to second the new subclause 2C thereof. On clause 3, we also want to second the position of the African National Congress thereof. On clause 7, we also want to make the secondment thereof, Chair. On clause 8, we also want to make the secondment thereof. In conclusion, Chair, it is critical that in particular young people, we need to develop ourselves as in when the process which the National Assembly is taking place of consulting with our public. We need to ensure that we go to school so that when this land comes into our own hands, we use it fruitfully with skills that we would have been equipped with. Because having land without any skill, we might end up looking like, I would give example we have seen in our neighbors here in Zimbabwe, Most people, they own land, but they cannot make means of production with the land that they are having. Therefore, Chairperson, the clause of
Our security officers, I hope you are bringing the people outside so that when the last speaker finishes, we have people already in that must speak.
Oh, ke tlo Max. Okay, thank you. Okay. Ke a leboha motsamaishi wa modiro. Le bolela le ntate Marwala Thethe from Lepelleng Kumbi. Mabapi le taba e re tletseng mo ke tla gopela tshwarelo because ke a tseba gore badudi ba ka parlamenteng le re shaetse be ke tadima gore o tshwanela taba e re tlileng ka yena mo he nka ba parlamenteng ka ba bile ba tseba ba sentse ba nyakile batho ba bagolo ba rentšwang kwa golo he apartheid e thoma ra le botša gore ntwe e re diang appropriation of the land without composition a se phošo nna ke le Thethe Marwala from Lepelleng Kumbi ke bele go kwa thabeng tša Mmalebogo papa o ile a ba gona ntweng ya mafelelo e la ya 1944 o ile wa direa se ke nyaka go fa history e nnyane gore le ba botse ka parlamenteng gore ga be le dipiditše batho ba e le goreng ke nnete dilo tše di direa ba di bone matlhong a bona nna ke di bone Ferefuthi ka nako e a dula setulong he ba tšea naga ye e tloa go Maesimane e tsena go ma-Afrikanere go ile wa dira se Ferefuthi a re ga a namela tafole ba rena go emo mo kae o ka re sa bolela ntho yago a re ke emo mo di ma ditlhogo tša batho Ferefuthi ke ena wa go re tloša go di tšela naga ye ya rena e rile tloa moo ke nnete ba ba re ba bija ma-Afrikanere ke a ba tlhompha ka mantswe lao ba ile ba re inatše a re lena batho ba bašweu a re šomišeng taba yela ya go dula ka go ya ka motlhobo ke nnete a dira jwale ba re tloša from mo be re le gona ba re kgaoantšhanatše ka moka tšona o re re fele maatla pele mo ke tsena mo pampiring ya lena bele ka fao be ke gopela re history ye a e dirwe batho ba parlamenteng ba seke ba re shaetša se re se bolela mo today appropriation of land without compensation a be yona because re le kgole le tšwang pitšeng ga e le palela le re bitše o dule parlamente ya batho ba le reng ba bele go ko morago gore bana ba rena ba seke ba timela because ba re tšeetše land pele mare re tšea land a re
awa ba re kgomo a e di boloko ka moka le a tseba sereto seo re a leboga
awa le nthopile ma a ba nthopile ke tseba gabotse gore metsotso enka o le mpotšela re go fa metsotso e
I was saying,
awa re a leboga
I wanted to indicate that government is failing us because when you brought people here, you should have actually invited people who know about the history of the land in South Africa. And what we wanted to say is that as you discuss in Parliament, make sure that you discuss issues of this land so that we get it back. Because when Fairwood took over, in South Africa. First thing that he did was to ensure that white people get privilege. He said that parliamentarians, please make sure that when you go back to parliament, you do take the land question very serious. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon to everybody there. This is Mabitsela from Ward 13, Lepelle Nkumbi. I would really like to say that from the African National Congress, that Comrade Chairperson, this issue has been there in our Freedom Charter. The ANC support the land expropriation, and it is there in our 54th conference that it is time for us to expropriate the land. We have got very serious issues with land. You go to places such as Lephalale, the government cannot even roll out RDPs because the government has got no land. Most of these white people have got that land. People are sitting and living and staying on top of each other. So we are saying we need it to be very expedite so that the people of our nation can have the dignity that they deserve that was and taken away from them. I thank you.
We have law-abiding people who are standing in the sun without water or cold drink. Now they are inside. So if there is still water, please give them on both sides. And now I'm going to take 10 names from this side, give them the stickers, only those who have just come in. And then when I'm done with the 10, I'll take 10 from this side, and then they will get the speakers. And I must thank you for your patience and your respect for the agreement reached by your leaders that you should wait outside until your turn comes. And thank you, and keep up that discipline.
Tobela, nna ke Kgothatso Mpho. I'm a student at Capricorn TVET College. I'm a SASCO member. I state that the ANC support appropriate of land as a just, equitable process to restore the dignity of our people in addressing the land question and the appropriation of land without compensation is part of the process. We are convinced by evidence that the willing buyer-seller model did not work. For the ANC, land reform is about redressing historical injustice and this position of the black majority. It is also a vital opportunity to unlock growth and promote social economic transformation. The ANC land reform program provides a racial way to address the land question and build productive assets for our people and ensure food security. We submit that under Section 25, clauses 1, 4, 5, 6, and 9 should remain as they are. On the clause 2, we make the following amendment. Add a new sub-clause 2C, which must read as follows. Subject to without composition or nail composition under the conditions laid out in a law of general application. On the clause 7, we make the following submission. That for the purpose of these hearings, only the text remain as it is. On clause 8, we make the following amendment. In the first line, the clause as follows, and everything therefore remains the same. No provision of this section, including the payment of composition, may be by the state, etc. In conclusion, appropriation of land is just a equitable process to restore the dignity of our people. Nna ke fetsa ka gore we want our land back as ke le modudo kwa ga Sekhukhune. Re na le mo lo baneng ba ngepa gromo, e ngepa ke di bias tse lo baneng di tswa out. Mo lo baneng gore a re benefit. Dintlo tsa ga bo rena mo re leng gona. Ba ngepa ka fase ga tsona, dintlo di godimo. Ke mo lo baneng like a go kana dipula. Re tlo end up re ba homeless. And aba fetsa those bias, aba pushetse melete. Re end up re lo ba bana ba ga borena as bana aba bona mafelo a mang le a mang ba nyaka go dula ba experience ka go ya gana kwa matamong ba tlo bang ba ngepile gona. Ke fetsa ka gore
Thobela ka moka ka moholo. Nna ke nna Tukiso Tsholo mo tswa mo Ward 8. Modula setulo be ke gopela botša question e one. Ka re ke a kwa le bolela ka land without compensation. So if tabe ya gore land without compensation e gona e le gore o na le ba mo ba borena ba ba dula gona ba ba dula mo nageng ya memaene. So le tlo nyako o fa le tlo ele dia so land without compensation ek le tlo ba fa land ya bona back or le tlo nyako ba fa tšhelete ke botšang fela.
I just want to ask one question as to whether, because now you are talking of expropriation of land without compensation, if you were to take people who have removed from a place where now mining is taking place, are you saying those people are going to be taken to such a place wherein mining is happening? That's the question I wanted to ask.
A good question which is noted. This leadership will entertain it when they go back to Cape Town. Thank you. Kirile, Kitao Kenya, got the last batch Limarosh.
The issue is, I'm just like any person here.
Oh,
I'm not a chief, I'm nothing, I'm just somebody.
Okay,
like
okay. No, talk.
Tovela.
Hey.
Nagama Roti Malawati from Ramakai.
Get closer to the mic and continue.
Maroti Malawati from Ramakai. We are here talking about expropriation of land without compensation. But I hear people saying things like where it's appropriate, land must be compensated equitably so. This is expropriation of land without compensation, meaning there's no land that must be compensated for. The land must be taken back without any compensation. And that means from the get-go, we just take the land, do not compensate anyone, because we all know the land was not compensated when it was taken from our forefathers. And so how can you compensate for something that it was not compensated from the start? And also, I have an issue with BBE beneficiaries. Most of them, they bought tracts of land. I can speak of our president, he owns a game reserve somewhere. And so what I'm asking is, will that land that now is owned by the president be expropriated without any compensation? Because now I know for a fact, if we say equitable compensation must be paid, people like our so-called political leaders, they are the first one whose land will be compensated for. And another issue is the issue of urban land acquisition. We know from the previous political dispensation, the zoning of land back then, white people were put nearer to the CBDs, and our black brothers were put far away from the CBDs. I'm saying now, here, let's start first and expropriate the land nearer to the CBDs so that we can use that land to develop residential areas for our people. Because our people are struggling. A person is working in town. He stays in Ramolepo. It takes more than 45 minutes to come to work in town. And he's paying half his salary per month to commute from home to work. Is that not actually putting more burden on our people? And so let's first expropriate the land nearer to the CBD, the center of economy. Then after, we go for the Vervoer, the ZZ2. He's closed all the gates when you go to Guyana, that side. There are gates in the middle of the road. And the road does not belong to him. There are gates there. And so now I'm saying ZZ2 must open the gate so that we can get our...
Thank you, sir. Now we are going to take the last 10 hands of those who have just come in this side and give them the stickers. When we finish, come to this, the last 10 this side, give them the speakers, and then get to the royal leaders, and that we will have done what we came here for. So you raise your hands, you will be given stickers. Oh, okay. I obey our security officers. You see, they direct me from there. They've done the job. Let's proceed.
Thobela. Nna ke Thobela ke a thabela taba ya amendment ya section 25 ka hobaneng ba re le humo le tswa tshimong so di tlo tswa tshimong e fe mo la sena space re a le botsa re le ba botsa re nyaka land ntho ya mathomo ke o lema ka gore le re itirele re tlo itirela kae ka gore o sena space ka gore le kwesha e re lapisitse gore mai boe Africa re nyaka gore e be ona already ke a lebo.
I do support the issue of land amendment of section 25 because for communal land we really gonna need the land for us to do so.
It's fine. Amandla, forward with the land, forward. Pile pile, gala fase pile pile. Okay. Agato sinya sabakan. Ke nagana hore issue ya land ke kgale re bolela. Eno ba hore le tshogile. Kgale le roma gore no le re latele le ba botsa re nyaka land le tshaba maburu le a tseba ba owner. So rena re tswa kwa Jujuville re itsere land re le bontsha mohlala gore le roma le tshogile buelang ka theko re tsena re ba botse ba re fel land e wishi ya taba ya dintona mo magae re tlile mo go tlogolela ntwe ete ka mo ka re nyaka land ge re fitse ba re no di khoshi ka mammal fase ke 70,000 wa re terlo fase le re nke mahala le fitse le re gishitse ke jaaka 70,000 a re ka stene mara re le fase ke mahala tsa malo bo tsa mmuso o le fentšhale tsa kgwedi ka kgwedi magoši ba le patele bjalo ka di-pensioners le tlo le rekishetša land because today re mo re lwela land ka morago e benefita individual botjang government le feng salary ya every month.
Thobela boetapele mo pele ke dumediša le yena moetapele wa ka Josie Butane nna ke nna mama Kgoba ke tswa wa 25 Mankweng ke dumelelana le batho ba ka moka re nyaka lefase ntle le tefo nna ke kwiša o ka re diwa bana re opela ko shaba le ka ge le kremile gore nkosisikelele le ne taba nkosisikelele a go dula le re le nyaka naga ga gona motho a beng le naga mo ga gone motho a re ke yena ngwana mobu re tlisitše ke modimo mo lefaseng lena palamente mo pele ya mmušo o bušangane bjalo le re dia bana le raloka ka rena re dia black man patile ga re ato raloka black man patile moki lena ke lena le santse go diolokong la taba gore naga šitše ga njo re santse re dire mimo le re botsa gore saenang dipampiri tša gore wena o ta tsena mo wena o ta tšea mo wena a ta tšea mo le raloka ka rena through you chair kgopela o yo bolele le president ya gago le ska raloka ka rena re kgopela naga ko go biela go fitlha January after January a re tšee naga.
Parliamentarians, you seem to be playing with us because every time you come and discuss issues of land, why don't you just take us through the issue of land without much discussions?
Ere ke dumedishe boetapele ba rena ba EFF Komisang Matthias Josi Butani ke dumedishe le magoši a rena ba ba felang ba sa ba botše ditaba ka moka tša go felelela ba parlamente ke re kgopela lente gobane re tletše ka magae re ba bantši ebile re baka le dijo because ka lebaka la gore go o jele o ja half ya bogobe ka lebaka la gore ga go ne mešomo ga go ne selo le ka mo re dulang ka ona ka Jujuvele ba go recognize fela ka taba tša di-election ge ba nyaka fela di-vote re kgopela gore a batle ba re diele le development re kgone go ba le mašimo a rena mo e le gore re tla kgona go lema ra tšwela pele ke re a le roma lena parlamente a le seke la dula fase la palela ko o bolela presidente le yona e ne le tša yona le lena dirang part ya lena re lapile ka o bolela ka taba ya lente we are sick and tired re kgopela re lente re lefa fela ka January fela re lapile a re tlo patela le batho ba ko magaeng kua ba mo rekišetša stene ka 15,000 mola e swantšwe re stene a se kry-e mahala re lapile re a kgopela magoši ya rena a re sken ra rekišetša bana ba mmu ra ba rekišetša naga e ke ya rena maburu ba e kry-ile gona mo ke ya rena a re e berekišeng ka mokgo rena re nyakang ka gona ba seke ba re laola ke a leboga.
I request to the parliamentarians that you do get land for us because we are congested at our homes and we share food and so forth. So we really do need land so that we can be able to plow on it and produce other products. Thank you very much.
Tobela, ke thoma ka o dumediša batho ka moka ba leng ka mo le wa romiwa ke tlo bolela ka land kudu ntho ke nyaka go bolela ka yone gore jwale ke taba ya gore batho ba ntsho ga bana lefatshe re a le tseba gore le ka mokae a se mong ke berekile mo re tlo boleša ka lefatshe because ke ntho e reilwe ke ba go gole so ke nyaka go bolela ka tsela e nngwe ya go tsamaya ka mo gone jwale ga o ya Dendron ba re saetse melelwane ka mo o nna maburu ka mo o dula batho ba baso so ntho e koša botlhoko because dikgomo tša batho ba baso di mo di fulang ka mo ba kentše dipholofolo ba re ke tša bona tše ba di kry-ileng tše di le gona so o tloa mo fitlha Dendron a gona motho moso a dulang ka ba dula ka mo ke maburu ka so le a bona re sa fenywa so re no tla mo re kopana re bolela ntho e one e sa feleng so ne ke kopa goreng ge nke bele re bolela le batho ba le gore ba tseba mo Limpopo ba tsebang tsele ke bolelang ka yone go tsamaya gone beno o ye Dendron o lebelele ka botle ka re ka mo le ke maburu ka mo ke batho ba so fela dikgomo di fula ka mo 3 hectares tša maburu ke fula dipholofolo tše dintšintši ka mo le dikgomo ba re ke tša bone dikgomo tše 100 di fula mo hectareseng tše 70 so wena o fudiša dikgomo tša mo 3 hectareseng so ntho e koša botlhoko so wele ke nana gore se sa bolela ka yona e a lefetšiša thobela.
There's a road as you go to Dendron. On the right-hand side, it's where white people stay and their cattle graze there. And on the left-hand side, it's for blacks. And when you look at it, there's a very small space on the left-hand side for the blacks. And this is very much painful. And we were saying that let's not continue talking about this land issue, but instead, we need to implement it as soon as possible.
Thanks, Chairperson and honorable members, Magoši a rena, le setšhaba ka mokana ga sona. My name is Manchen Thomas Rachweni, modudi wa ga Mphahlele, under Lepelle Nkumbi, Ward 25. I stand here as the member of the Economic Freedom Fighters, to support the amendment of Section 25 of the Constitution in order to make the expropriation of land without compensation possible, and that I would like to make the following submissions, Chairperson. That the state should be the custodian of all South Africa's natural resources, inclusive of land, mineral resources and water, and relevant legislation should be passed to clearly define and contextualize state custodianship of natural resources. We further say private ownership must cease to exist and be replaced with common ownership of land by the people as a whole. Briefly, and in conclusion, Chairperson, the struggle here in our country began with land. When others imposed themselves and dispossessed our forefathers of their own land. Land is the economy. It is only when land is equitably shared that we could achieve economic freedom in our lifetime. A simple example, Chairperson, those currently in possession of our land are intentionally depriving us of the proceeds of this land. Of late, the prices of simple tomatoes increased by over 50%. But I tell you, Chairperson, if land was accessible to everyone, we would have cultivated enough to keep the supply to suppress the prices from escalating. Chairperson and honorable members, waste no time. And Chairperson and Honorable Matthias, I can see age is not on your side. Please expedite land expropriation without compensation, because I and other comrades who are here, we would not like to become landless ancestors. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for recognizing my age. That's why you have great respect for the elders.
Tobela, ke Doris wa rapport go tswa wa 10 ka mo moletši. Ke dumelelana le molawana wo wa Section 25. Re kgopela naga bagolo baka, baetapele baka. Ke bolela so ka fase a mabaka a malobanyana mo kgodiane re tswang go yona. Go bile le go gwaga dikgomo ko polasing di ile di a šwatlhela. Sebakeng sa gore re bitšiwe, di golewe re bitšiwe, re dipate re dintšhe jalo ka re ngwana a direla motswadi phoso. Re kgopela naga re kgone go ba balemirui, re ska le sa lefa la borragolo wa gešo le felela ka lebaka la go tlhoka naga. Ke support-a molawana wo kudu-kudu ka maatla, re kgopela karabo, and then re kgopela ka pele assembly maruo a rena a hwa ba a bolaya ka lebaka la go tlhoka lefelo.
Thank you very much. I wanted to support the amendment of Section 25 because we are losing livestock, and we were saying that this issue of land needs to be attended to as a matter of urgency.
Tobela, wa mo pela lena ke khomotso ke kana wa Ward 9 wa Lepelleng Kumpi municipality. Ke rata o isha molaetsa wa ka o magoši kwa ga borena ba re rekishetša batho naga, batho ba o feta motho o tee o kere ba rekishetše poleke e tee stene mohlomong le bantši e kere stene seo se bakiwa ka baka la gore ba rekishetše batho ba bantši wa ikwešiša kore re tsotsela ke baetapele ba rena magoši a rena gola naga a swantse re kgomane mahala ene lo tša mokgutong ka be le gore naga e rekišiwe be di ka se direge be re tlone kgomanana ba tlone go fa stene sa go noši wa se be le bothata ka baka la gore gone tšhelete ka gare ba feleletša ba re rekišetša eng ditene re le batho ba 10 nagane stene batho ba 10 re sebaka ga re sa tse gore re stene ke sa mang ka moka re tshwere mangwala mošate. So re kgopela lena baetapele ba mmušo le bolele le magoši stene e be mahala, ene le gona ge le fa batho naga go swana le kwa borena mogoto ba file batho naga ya makolobi mara se ba fa di-resources tša go lema o tlo dirang ka naga o sena di-resources. wa kusha e dutse naga ba ifile batho e dutse a ene mogole ene ke ntwe e le gore ke naga e le gore be e ka re gola ya tsoša mešomo nka be le gore mmušo o re fine di-resources tša re leme ke a leboga.
My concern goes directly to the Mahoshis for selling us the pieces of land. We were saying that the land should not be sold to us because as they do so, you find that one piece of land is sold to many other people. And as a result, where money is involved, there's always a chaos. Also that you need to provide us with equipment for us to be able to can make use of the land. Don't just give us land without supporting us with resources. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Greetings to the panel, and let me also send my salutations to the provincial chairperson of EFF Limpopo, Commissar Joseph Buthani. My name is Machaola Malisela. I'm an unemployed graduate from the University of Limpopo, and I'm currently pursuing a postgraduate course in the same institution. We thought that we should take this time as students to come and make a submission to Parliament that we express our unwavering support for the bill which is on the table. In actual fact, we find it very much disappointing that Parliament, after 26 years post the democratic dispensation, 26 years later you come and ask us if whether or not we want the land. Whether or not we want the land which was taken from us through genocide, through force, by a racist government. So we support the land question, and we want to make it very clear to Parliament that please facilitate this process. We want the land back into the hands of the people for residential, human settlement, agriculture, and economic purposes. So there is no any other way of taking back the land. All these grandstanding land reform policies of the ANC, all of them have failed. Whether it's a willing buyer, willing seller, or whatever they want to call it. All of them are going to fail because land was taken from black people through legislation. The racist white government approved a law in 1913 called the Natives Land Act, which made it very much clear that only less than 10% of the land must be given to black people, and the remaining ones went to whites. And today, white people, the Boers, remains the beneficiaries, are at an advantageous position because of that racist policy of the racist apartheid government. So we want the democratic government to officially take back the land to the people. And who are the people? The state itself, which is going to be the custodian of this land. Thank you very much.
You want to speak?
Honorable member, now is your time.
Thanks, Chair. The greetings to the table and all people that are here in pursuit of this cause we are engaged in, all of us. Very brief, Chair. We must amend Section 25 of the Constitution as in yesterday. My coming here is to request a speedy conclusion of this process, because it only needs you and us to amend it. You must amend it because it speaks to the historical injustice of the past. It speaks to us gaining back our dignity. Here in Limpopo, in Lephalale, they've already mentioned you do not have a space to do anything as government. You are government, but you can't operate in your own country, in your own land, you can't do anything. In Waterberg, the owners of that land, they come to visit it through a chopper, 90% of it. In ZZ, in Mopani, you have ZZ2 that owns everything else called land. In Wembe, you even have a place where you can't enter. They tell you can't enter here. Even government officials can't enter. Even the municipality is not even in charge of that area. You go to Waterberg, they, Anglo Platinum, goes and exhume your graves. You want it, you don't want it, they do it. The people of Skukuni continues to suffer. Just at their back there is crow. Why is that? This land is not theirs. Those that owns it, they know it gives them, just by owning it, gives them power to do anything on it. They know if we exhume your grave, when we go to the court, you can't win it. The person who's going to preside, I'm supplying him with cattle, or is the one that supplies me with glycerine. We are farmers next to each other. And they always find a loophole in our laws to continue to punish us. Now, we need to legislate it. We need to say, now it's no longer an issue you must even take to court. It is there, it exists. By the way, Chair, if you go to these people now and ask, how much did you buy this land? The latter speaker before I come spoke of a native issue. They only know how much they can sell it to you now. The price of purchasing it themselves, they do not know. You tried everything in my conclusion, Chair. You tried, the government.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. No, yes. You see, I said, when I don't want to stop a person when he has not finished the sentence. So he was not out of order. He was finishing the sentence. Yeah. This side, do you have the name? Yeah. So they must come to the mic. Yeah. No, let's start the 10 from this side, and then we go to Mahoshi Basebeji. Oh, my wife. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Chairperson of the session, the Honorable entire group from the National Assembly, the legislature in the Limpopo, I can see Bhutani here, and the others. Mine, I'm not going to talk. I'm just going to submit the submission which was already submitted by the ANC, that the section 25 be amended as submitted here. I hope everyone, I think everyone was listening when all people were speaking here. All of us, we are in the one voice to say section 25 be amended. There is no one who is objecting. No objection. Everyone is supporting the amendment bill to be done as soon as possible. My name is Tilivali Solomon Mashau, the ward councillor of Ward 20 in the city of Polokwane. I'm here on behalf of the community of that ward. They've sent me that support the bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Councillor.
Morena, ke a le dumedisa ka moka. Ake kwa ke botokwa ebile ke motokwa. Re re go apa ke mahala. Taba e ke kgale kudu re apa. Ne ke bona dipampiri tse ba re di tha mmusong. E ke nahanne hore ba mmuso ba tlile hore botsa ditaba tša botsenase. Jwale ba mmuso ba sa botsisa rena ka ditaba tše bona ba re tetšene le tšona. Dipolase ke kgale re di lwela. Re tseba e le hore dipolase di feditše, ba tshwanetse ba ile hore botsa hore na se re eta mo ba re wena o ya polaseng ya ene, wena o ya polaseng ya ene. Jwale ba tlile botsisa rena ola ba tshwanetse ba botse rena. Rena e dilo felela ka e taba ye. Gape e ka se fele e ba re bitša ba re etana ba tlile re botsisa ola ba tshwanetse gore ba re botse gore taba tše di sepela bjane di sepetše bjane. Nna re no bala na se re botsa bona bo boela morago a re tsebe gore ba boela morago ka dife ka gore a re ya ba botsa selo. Se re kgopela lena baetapele mothale bo ya le tlile re botsa ditaba tše mothale bo ya le rumile ke mmuso le re botse taba e bene gona re se ka thwa re eta mo re tlile apa ntlo e tee re apa ka naga go la e le gore na re di phasitše morena.
I'm actually disappointed that I thought when you came here, you were going to share with us the good news, but that was not the case. Instead, we are here to discuss the very same issue of land, because as far as we know, the issue of farms and all other land spaces is now done and dealt with. But instead of just saying, distribution is here, your piece of land is this, and that other one as well, by sharing amongst us, you are actually continue to discuss the issue of land without ending. So we are appealing to you that as you go back, you deal with this matter as a matter of urgency. Thank you.
Tabela, ke molatelo Pierre, ke thaka mole what 8. Re gopela nama. Na I'm a qualified mill right artisan. Ke nyoko ipulela my own engineering workshop. Mara ke na ibile ke na tšhelete ya go reka na ya gore ke ipulela. Re ka se be le di-training center ka toropone tša go tshwana le bozorele tša go ouna ke makgowa. Le rena re nyoko ba makgowa ke nyoko ba boso nna ke hire batho ke ke ba tšee ka botokwa ke ntšhe tshokolo ka rana ya yesu ke ka ikhumana feleng ka khumana mahala ke se ke senyakane. NYDA hona naida e a funda o ya mo bona go gopela di-findings ba o botsa gore na e kae re nyoko go rekela equipment re nyaka go thaka lefase lao re feng lefase re gopela le ise molaetša. M2A hona e funda bana gore ba di trade ba be di-artisan re iperekele ba re funda kae o e na le trade center wena mo ye o e tšeane kae tshwantse o be le nao o ahe train center ba te ba o fe tšhelete ba o fande. Rena a re sokole re nyoko ba makgowa rena monye a ona tša gore baswa a bana mešomo re nyoko itiela re feng lefase re ketiele mešomo re le bontšhane gore a re yo kwa ka di-CV rena monye re o bereka ka ra na tša rena ke a leboga.
I'm actually doing engineering and we don't have land. So where I come from, we can as well create jobs that side. But because we don't have land, that's the reason why we are failing in doing so. It's not like white people are better than us, but it's because we don't have the land to do such an engineering project. For that reason, we are appealing to you that you do get the land issue being redressed. Thank you very much.
Nna ke rata o dumediša baetapele ka moka ba ba leng gona mo tafoleng. Nna leina la ka ke nna Ronuwa ga Matlhaola. Ke kwa botlhoko kudu ke motho le gore ke na le disability. Mara today ke a bona baetapele ba rena ba gona ba o tswa parlamenteng fa mara ke a bona gore a one sign language interpreter. Ke a ipuša gore na baetapele ba rena ba kgetholla bagolofadi ba ba sa kgoneng ba bolelang ka di sign language le ba bagolofadi ba ile ra ba bone gobane gane jalo parlamente e tlile setšhabeng mara bagolofadi a ba gona and then document e gona fa mara e re lebeletše ne ke le so ke lebeletše ke bona motho wa o se bone yena o e bala jwang ka gobane a se e printwe ka mongwalo wa braille. Ke gopela baetapele ba rena ke gopela gore o na le kopano tša mokhutong le rena re le bagolofadi re batho re nyaka information and ke a kuša gore this event this meeting ke nagana gore le mo televisioneng a nyalo ke bolela so ba bangwe ba ka no ba bantebeletse mo televisioneng mara motho le hore a khone a bolele a kwe o khona o theeletsa jwang obane a o ne sign language interpreter ka mo ke le rona le sign language interpreter mo TV be a tlo khona o ka bona tse di diwang ka mo ke a leboga ke tsenya ke rialo.
I am disappointed because as a person living with disabilities, I see there are no sign language interpreters. And for that reason, I find it very much disturbing because part of the society is the people who are living with disabilities, but we don't see them here. So I was also concerned that for those who are watching from the television, might as well be disadvantaged because of lack of provision of sign language interpreting. So I'm appealing to you that in future you do as you are supposed to. Thank you very much.
On Friday next week, we will be finalizing the question of recognition of the sign language. Thank you for reminding us.
Ke a leboga ntate Motshega le ntate Bongo le komiti ya lena re leboga ge ntse le tota ba ntate Motshega gore le se tsamaye le ditaola lana tšo badimo ge ntse le re thuša nna ke rata go le tsebiša gore nna ke le kgole le tšwang pitšeng ba bangwe ba no bolela apartheid ya ba e tsebe nna papa o berekile dipolasa bophelo bja ge ka moka ene ke last born o ile 6 feet under the ground a dila a sena baki ya go apara saka mara o ba ntsentšha sekolo ka a gola ranta ka kgwedi a patelwa ka bupi bjola bja kgorofo bja go fiwa dikgomo bjale ke re ka fase ga African National Congress, the ANC supports the expropriation of land as a just and equitable process to resolve the dignity of our people in addressing the land question, and expropriation of land without compensation is part of the process. We are convinced by evidence that the willing buyer, willing seller model did not work. For the ANC, land reform is about redressing historical injustices and depossession of the black majority. It is also a vital opportunity to unlock growth and promote socio-economic transformation. The ANC's land reform program provides a radical way to address the land question and build productive assets for our people and ensure food security. We submit that on Section 25, Clause 1, 4, 5, 6, and 9 should remain as they are. On Clause 2, we make the following amendment. Add a new sub-clause 2C, which must read as follows. Subject to without compensation or nil, compensation under conditions laid out in a law of general application. On Clause 3, which speaks about property, we make the following amendment to the first line of the clause. Everything after that remains the same to read as follows. Where compensation is payable, the amount of the compensation and the time and manner of payment must be just and equitable, etc. On 7, we make the following submissions. That for the purpose of these hearings, only the text remains as is. On Clause 8, we make the following amendment in the first line of the clause as follows. And everything threatened remains.
Veteran, le ka no re tlohella pampiri ka moo.
Ra leboga, Papa.
Ahe.
Thanks very much, Chairperson. Ke dumediše boetapele maaparang kwa leng gona fa. Ke bontšhe gore ke le Charles Legong from Blueberg Local Municipality. Ke eme ke tšwa mokgatlong wa African National Congress ke le moswa ke tlo gatella se se boletsweng fa ke ANC ebile re bontšha gore we submit that on section 25 clause 1, 4, 5, 6 and 9 should remain as they are. On clause 2 we make the following amendment: add a new subclause 2C which must read as follows: subject to without compensation or new compensation under conditions laid out in a law of general application. And on clause 3, which speaks about poverty, we make the following amendment to the first line of the clause. Everything after that remains the same, to read as follows: where compensation is payable, the amount of the compensation and the time and manner of payment just be just and equitable, etc. On clause 7, we make the following submission: that for the purposes of these hearings, only the text remains as is. Of clause 8, we make the following amendment in the first line of the clause as follows, and everything thereafter remains the same. No provision of this section, including the payment of compensation, may impede the state, etc. In conclusion, bjalo ka baswa, re bontšha gore baswa ba ikemiseditše ebile baswa ba formile di-close cooperatives, so re ka tshepo ya rena go lena baetapele ba rena re dumela gore se le ta se potakiša tswetswe. Re a leboga.
Give us your notes.
Ke a le dumediša ka moka wa bolela mo ke ditshego monyela ke o mongwe wa membara wa ANC. Legatong la diboledi tše di boletšeng ke rata go kgwahlišeletša e nngwe ya le goreng baswa bontši ba bona ba dutše gae ga ba šome and ba na le tšwelopele mara ba gatelela ke bagolo ba bona ka pele. Jwalo se sengwe gape ke gore mantona a rena re kgopela le ska rekiša dinaga ka re mmušo wa lepatela gore re kgone go tšwela pele. Ke gatelela mo godimo ga submission of 25 section 25 1, 4, 5, 6 and 9 gore re kgopela goreng le lena bagolo ba rena taba e se ka felela mo ka re go tloga morago re le busy re phusha taba e ga gane jalo re kgopela gore ga e re January month end of January e le gore le boele re botse gore re sepete so than gore every time re kgobakane ntho e tee re sa tšwele pele. Ke a leboga.
We are requesting that Magoshi do not sell stamps for us. Instead, they should just provide them for free to us. And we support what the ANC has submitted on sections that have been indicated. And we request that we give you until January for you to attend to this matter. And thank you very much.
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank you, Chairperson, and the fellow comrades. I, Mabelane Tebogo, the member of ANC and the secretary of SASCO, Go Sishiro Campus, FET. I've been asking myself only one question, and I don't know whether it is a rhetorical question or not. How can an individual own the entire land while we have people outside who are suffering? That was the first question. The other one, how can an individual who owns the entire land, who have millions, while we have people outside who are suffering, while they don't have nothing? That was the second question. And the other thing, land around Sukukuni, we have so many mines there, but people, graduates and postgraduates are not working. They are unemployed. So I don't know where King Intobelore bona ba tlo benefit from those mines. So ne ke kgopela as a member of ANC and SASCO ke supporta this amendment ke re kgopela gore ele tsamaya le ya go parlamenteng re kgopela gore le shale ntaba ye morago because
it's very important to us. Thank you.
Tobela. Lina lagagi Moloto Desmond, Brian Secretary, ANC, Ward 45, Polokwane sub-region. Kinana oring all of you, Honorable Motsega. Liaziba oring ka 1652, kada arrival yabo Jan van Riebeck, lebo Vasco da Gama, kimo matata, atarian swahili atomaon. So formation ya African National Congress ka 1912 ibe formula based responder to whatever issue tailoring ba nna ba ba o fitla mo le their groups ba ile ba di dira ba tsamaya across South Africa. And in 1955 at Klip Town, Soweto, Freedom Charter is very clear. One of the quote from the Freedom Charter, laga issue ya land, or batwa babaraganga land, so anjibe batwa own now. We can't have somebody, for example, from China. That particular person who's an Abargo Univen or go kai or go vendor, that particular person own a land. We butcherna udiala yuang. But GMMO ANC nale the right way to reach here because Khalenchibo Lagaland. In a number one on issue, we submit on section clause 1, 4, 5, and 6, and 9. Or do no bagam on. And on clause 2, Renale the change Jelor Sanji Biona, Jeloring ANC is submitted, and le various comrades bash by the village. Aganyogo Jana Gwenchi, Kalebo.
Ke rata go okay. Ke dumedisa batho ka moka ba leng ka mo holong. Nna ke nna Ramasela wa Gashadu, ke tswa Ward 40 Ramashashane. Nna se ke staging mo, I just want to ask the government to fast track the section 25. So cause go ka kwa this dibule di fitileng, this thing e kwisha botlhoko. Nna village e ke tswang go yona ke tswa Sebora. Magishane wa ka a ke mmone just because le ntlo ya hona a ke tse gore e gole bo bokakang. Rena is that is why re feleletsa re ilwa le mantuna rena just because rena le naga e nyane e swantse re share. Is that is why o ka kwa dibule di tseding tse di fitileng ba tla re ntuna e rekisetsa batho ba ba itseng Stennis 1 just because re patame rena le land e nyane ye re sharang. So na ki yemi mo ki le Ramasela wa Gashadu go gopela parlamente go potlakisha ditshepediso tsa section 25 so that re bushetswe naga ya rena back. So a ke tlo tsia nako e ntshi ke bolela mo just because diboledi tse dintshi tsa go tswa mogatlong wa rena wa African National Congress tse di boledi. So ke rata go leboga.
Just appealing that the issue of land be attended to as a matter of urgency. As you might have heard other speakers as well, they've been requesting the same thing that I'm gonna do here. But with regard to the selling of stands, I think it's a matter that needs to be attended to because land should not be sold to the people who stay there. In fact, we need to get the land back as a nation. Thank you very much.
Our royal leaders this side, those who wants to address us.
Ke rata we mamo ke leboa ke le ngwako wa mogalo tswa moshato wa dinkwe wa go se matšhaka botlokwa ke rata o leboa parliament ya rena boetapele ka moka be le mo dimo mowe ke leboe le maaparangwa a rena le mo batho ka moka ba le leng ka mo rata o le leboa le bana ba rena ba apile ba boletše ka mokgwa ba boletseng ka ona parliament ya rena bjale ka mešata le ka bona gore lefase la South Africa ka moka le boletše go na le pele la re e bola borene ba re roamba ro kholoma ra re apa re bolela ka taba ka language e tee fela ya gore naga a e boele benye ke moane wa Afrika so ntho e kgolo re e bona mo rena bele ka mešate be re no kgopela hle boetapele ba rena parliament ya rena re isetšene molaetša kwa parlamenteng le ba tsebiše gore ditšhaba di na le bothata bana ba rena ba lwa ba sa tseba pele le morago ka gore ba setse ba bona e ka re magoši ba ba gatelela fela ga gona mo magoši ba ka gatelelang bana ba bona ka ona ka baka la naga gore naga ke ntokwana naga e setse e buile e tshwere ke batho ba bangwe ba ka ntle mo e le gore magoši a ba kgone o tshikinyega ebile a ba kgone le gore ba ka otlolwa le bana ba bona ba kgone go kry-a sebaka sa gore ba diphedise ka naga tše e leng tša borakgolo wa bona se ke nyako se bontšha mo ke dumelela le bona bana ba bantši ba bolela mo re a ba kwa re dilo tša bona di ikosa botlhoko ebile se sengwe ke gore ba tshikinya ke maikutlo a borakgolokhukhu wa bona mo ba leng gona gore bile mo ba robeditšeng gona ba ntšhiwa ba isiwa kae ga se moane wa rena wa magoši re sa ntšhang batho re ba isa mo ba sa tshwanela go ya gona mathomone ke gore le bontšhe gore le dikgomo tša bana ba rena kwa magaeng kwa magošing di a gwa re di lebeletše a bana plek ya phulo ba tla mešata ba re magoši ba leka ka mpa ka gonago naga e seo naga e tshwere ke batho ba ba itseng so ka kgopelo legatong la mešate ke re bana ba rena lena le na le dillo oba ka mo le bona gore le na le mathata ka ona mešate ke ya lena magoši ke bopapa lena e ya mešate le bontšhe sello sa lena oba kgopelo ga gona ngwana wa ka ra tsena mošate kgoši ya re tloa mo gaufi lena ke nyako go bona oba bona mantona ba ue ba laola ke kgoši a ba lefa bothata e ya mošate le bontšhe gore le lela ka ena a ke kgopole gore a re le mo re do thekgana le lena le thekgile rena gore naga e boele mo e kwang ona ga re bolela ka ntho ba re ke naga re bolela ka naga e sa le a tšewa kgale e le gore le senke le bona mo lefaseng le khumana o ntse o ketoka tsela ya naga mola nase naga e ka re e buile ka baka la ka mokgwa e sepetseng ka ona lena le swantse le le thuše le mmuso gore naga e boele benye re se ka ra tla ra ntšhana ka gare a naga a re leng o nae be a rena ka moka re mola lo thuša le lena le mola o thuša setšhaba re na le lena makgotla ka moka o fapana le mo le teboene gore re na le magoši ka moka rena ra tsewa re tlhana eng tša magoši le kgopole gore re tsene dikolo ka gara di ntlo tšeo tša go ua ka letsopa re sena se re na le sona o feta na se mo leng ona o feta le dula ka toropone le tlhale le magae nang tša magoši se ka le thusa ke batho ba lelosa le magoši e ya mešate ba tlo le amogela selo sa lona se tokwala ke a leboa mosepediši wa mošomo
Polokwane thobela kgoši dikgane
ke a leboga nna ke kgoši dikgale ke modulasetulo wa ntlo wa magoši mo provinceng ke mo go emela magoši ya gešo le ba thekgang bogoši ka kakaretšo re thekga amendment ya this section 25 gore it be amended mo ma constitution ebile re dumela gore ge amendilwe e tla dira gore ka moka ga rena re tla re kgona go khumana naga go ya ka mokgwa gore taba re e nyaka gore re hwetse ka gona le tsebe magagešo gore le mathomong naga ga se ya ka ba dilo tše dintšhi ya dilo tše dintšhi tše e be go na le dilo tše tharo tše e le goreng naga e be sentse gore e di address tše dingwe di tla ka morago e ba makala ya mathomo e be gore re go fa naga wa ga motse wa dula le bana ba gago ya bobedi re go fa motse gore o produce dijo le batho ba geno le batho ba gago ya boraro e be gore ge le thokofetše le kgone go bolokwa mo nageng ya lena pele mabakeng a mantšhi ba sešego ba tla tseba ba kgona go toga go lemola ba go bolokwa silicone ka kwa thoko ela ka mola go ipontšha gore ga gona naga e ba na le yona this side naga e tšere ke batho ba bangwe ba e seng bona beng ba yona but ke nagana gore mmušo ba santse ba re thuše gore taba ya state land a e aterese taba ya mathata a naga gabotse taba ya state land gore state land naga ke ya mmušo dinaga tše di beng kgauswi le rena mo re dutšeng gona magošing bontšhi bja yona naga yeo ke state land go fodiša batho ba bangwe ba sa tsebe rena ba tšwa ba e mokae di hira ke batho ba bangwe ba sa tsebe rena ba tšwa ba e mokae di owner ke batho ba bangwe ba sa tsebe rena ba tšwa ba e mokae le ge ba khumana di-minerals ke batho ba bangwe ba go tšwa mafelong a mangwe ba re bona ba šomiša naga ewe go ya ka fao ba ratang ka gona fela rena re thekga gore naga e a e boe go batho e atereswe ka batho batho ba addresswang ka bona e be di-community le batho ba ba dijeng gausi le jo bona na di-community tseo le bona batho ba le ba magoši ka gore magoši ke ona ba etile pele naga e nako e ka moka ga yona a go nna batho ba bangwe bantši ba etile naga pele goba go tsewa naga mo e be e tšhabetse gona go magoa goba go ba bangwe ba ka ba motlho mongwe ba ba rata go dira boithatelo ka naga fela e be le magoši ba bantši ba etile pele you go wherever ba tla go botsa ka bosekhukhune ba tla go botsa ka bohinsa you go wherever ba tla go botsa ka bošaka le ba bangwe bao but e taetša gabotse gore taba ya naga ke taba ya serena ye le gore batho ba borena ba swantse gore ba e humane go ya ka botlalo ke a dumela gore ge batho ba borena ba ka humana naga tše dintši tša go tlhoka dijo di ka sebetša ba tšea ba gona tše dintši tša di-social grants di ka fokotšega ge taba rena le naga re tseba gore re kgona go producer dijo tša rena beng ba yona fela ke rata go le fa mogopolo le go le fa mphago o le sepelang le ona gone bele re amenda this section 25 ke le tuteletša gore re te re amende chapter 12 section 211 le 212 ya constitution re letse ka yona go toga gale gore ga e bolele gabotse ka bogoši batho ba ba beng ka mo ke a dumela gore ba tshepa gore magoši ke bomang ebile ba tseba go ka se ba nyaka explanation go tswa go bona mara a yaka ya ba ya amendiwa ke gale re tshwenya re re this chapter 12 must be amended section 211 le 212 di be amended di tla di re kgona gore kwantšha gabotse le batho ba re dutse le bona le batho ba di masepala ka moka ga bona di tla re kwantšha lo tsene tšeo tše di kwane mara ga yaka ya re e amendiwe ebile ga ke tsebe gore na e ka ba gabotse go ka ba go dira jwang fela e reng ke fetseng ka gore rena re supporta gore section 25 e be amended bjale ka batho ba ba ka mo ba boletše ke bentse ke theleditše ke dutše mo ba boletše ka mo gore re supporte amendment ya constitution on that very section. Thank you very much.
Our capable interpreter will interpret what Mutogwa said and what Khoshidi Khale said. He has a wonderful memory. He doesn't write, but he remembers everything.
Yeah, coming from Botokwa, we really do support the amendment of Section 25 because in our area, we've been having fights among our own subjects with regard to the issue of land. So we were sending a message to you parliamentarians to make sure that the matter of the land question is being addressed. And Khoshi Dikhale was saying there should be a coordination and cooperation between the parliamentarians as well as themselves as traditional authorities. He was saying they also support the issue of amendment of the section, being section 25. He also gave the history of the land as to how it was taken. And he was saying that if this matter could be addressed as well, especially by you parliamentarians, they are always available to be of assistance in that regard, and therefore they do support the amendment of Section 25 as it now stands. Thank you.
I see there are two royal leaders. Do you want to speak? Oh, yes, you'll be the last one. Oh, you are covered. Yeah, you can come. You'll be the last one. Oh, you are covered. Okay. Okay, the last one is coming.
Leina la ka ke Lesetša wa Mamabolo. Ke rata go dumediša bagolo ba rena ba go tšwa parlamenteng. Nna gae ke tšwa Bjatladi ga Mamabolo. Ke emetše mo go tla go supporta Section 25. E leng yona e tla go re kgontšha gore humane naga ya rena back. Ke rata go leboga gape le mekgatlo ka moka ga yona. Ge ba eme ka molomoti wa letlhabula goreng naga a e boele back go batho ba go beng ba yona. E fela ge ka mo lehlakoreng la ba borena ba mmušo. Ke fela ke no solanyana ga nnyane gobaneng maloba mo ba re file molaetša wa gore re apply dipolase tše re di occupyang. Ba re ka gore di sa bitšwa ka maina a mmušo re apply ge e le gore re sa di nyaka and se re na re lete re di apply-ang o mongwe le o mongwe a ka no di apply mola e le gore rena re a dula so ya ra goreng ka site le lengwe lefela le araga ka ntšha lefela le re fatlha re tla gona moo e fela ge mamotla ke eme mo ke tlo support-a yona taba e ke a bušeletša ke re le babjatladi re naga e tšewe e fiwe batho re tlogele go tlhwa re go gagogana le baagišana ba rena kua le kua re baka piece e nnyane ya naga mola lefase le nabile le le kaka le lentši so ke a leboga
re a leboa Kolobe kgolo ya bjatladi bja Mmamorela this meeting is the last leg of public hearings on the amendment of Section 25 of the Constitution to allow expropriation of land without compensation. The overwhelming majority throughout the length and breadth of South Africa are calling for the amendment of this section. And the amendment of this section will be the greatest victory for all peace-loving South Africans, both black and white, because there cannot be and shall not be a lasting solution to the problems of slavery, British and apartheid, colonialism, without the resolution of the land question in South Africa. As early as 1908, President Sefako Chifango Mapoho Makato from Jatladibia Mamorela, Hennesburg, Africans said African people are not asking for land from anyone. They are asking for the land of their forebears. And the illegal land sales, land invasions, which we don't approve, are actually symptoms of the land hunger faced by our people. Land invasions and illegal land sales provide eloquent evidence of landlessness, homelessness, hopelessness, impatience, and anger over the land and its natural resources. All public representatives have throughout the length and breadth of South Africa heard your calls for expropriation of land without compensation in furtherance of peace, prosperity, and the future of the African youth and children. We shall heed your call. Our revolutionary Bible, the Freedom Charter, says that no government can legitimately claim authority unless it is based on the will of the people. Now that the people have spoken, it is incumbent on all Democrats, properly so-called, to vote for the amendment of Section 25 of the Constitution to allow for expropriation of land without compensation. The greatest Christmas gift that Parliament can give all South Africans is to adopt the report and proposed amendments to Section 25 that will result from this process. The public hearings that have been concluded here in Polokwane, the City of Stars, to celebrate the life and times of Sefako Mapogo Makato and the unveiling of his statue in memory of our royal leaders, including King Mpepura Mabulana, Skukune, Mantatise, Nyabela, Khalushi, Malebogo, Masalana Womujaji, Lillian Matabane, Nie Ngoi, Charlotte Makomumanya, Nie Makeke, and Peter Mugaba, including Peter Nchaveleni. The release of land to the African majority to address the triple challenge of poverty, unemployment, and inequality during the current term of Parliament is the surest means of addressing the pandemics of femicide, gender-based violence, abuse of women and children, which are exacerbated by drug and alcohol abuse, resulting from landlessness, homelessness, hopelessness among the African people. The ball is now in the court of these honorable members to hit your call. But I must say that you must thank Honorable Bongo and this team, because Honorable Bongo impressed on us that the people of Limpopo are not disruptive. The people of Limpopo are respectful, and that we must come back here and listen to you. And we are here. Honorable Bongo, you have been vindicated of that view. So I want to give you time to thank the participants who came here and demonstrated that you were telling the truth. Thank you very much. Thank the people.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you very much to the chairperson. We've now come to the end of the process. This was our last meeting indeed. We have crisscrossed the whole country. As we have always said that because of the nature of the process we're running and the time that we want to finalize these matters, we divided the committee into two. The chairperson of the committee was leading another delegation and I was leading other delegation. So we're done now crisscrossing. We've done all 9 provinces. The process going forward, as you all know, and we have always said that in Parliament, when you amend a section in the Bill of Rights, which is chapter 2 of the Constitution, you need a 2/3 majority. So no party that is in Parliament currently has a 2/3 majority. But I at least now know that there are 2 parties in Parliament that in their resolutions of conferences, they are advocating for land expropriation without compensation. As you all know again, when we are dealing with legislative drafting, there are a lot of processes that are involved. That is why when we're here, Chairperson, we're accompanied by land expropriation without compensation practitioners. We're accompanied by legal drafters to assist us to take care of this task to the finality. So now we're going to go back to Parliament, have deliberations on the real drafting of what Section 25 must look like. And once the National Assembly accept our report, because the chairperson, when he started, he did say that this is a multi-party committee. All the parties that are represented in Parliament are sitting in this committee to finalize the amendment of Section 25. Once National Assembly adopts the report, it will then be sent to the National Council of Provinces. National Council of Provinces will start its processes the way they deem fit, after which it will be sent back to the executive, to the President of the Republic for finalization. Our request is that please work with the National Council of Provinces as we go forward in dealing with the process. And we hope that, as the chairperson has properly summarized, we hope that you will work hand in hand with the Parliament, all the parties that are there, all the parties that have resolutions will also work together,
And we thank you for the kind of conduct we have displayed today in this meeting. A lot of people have been proven wrong that black people cannot work together around the issue of land expropriation without compensation. So we have done it today. All members are here. They are happy to have received the report. The cameras that you see here, some of them are the ones that take a record. That is why we want people to speak for the record, for Parliament's record. We've had all of you. Out of all those that we have attended, or those that I have attended, I've heard almost everyone speak in one voice that land should be expropriated without compensation. And the state must take custody. I think that came out very clear, Chairperson, that the state must take custody of the land. And we'll, as we summarize and as we deliberate and live to what majority of our people are saying. Thank you very much to members that are here for the cooperation, because without cooperation of members, we will not be able to carry out this task. We have cooperated very well with leaders from the DA, leaders from EFF, Nkata Freedom Party, and the African National Congress as the leader of government. And thank you very much, Chair. Over to you to close your meeting. Thank you.
Let me just, in closing, say we must thank our security officers. As I said, they are not skid and donor. They demonstrated that there is nothing that is better than respect for the people. They respected you, you respected them. And I must also thank the Queen Mother here, Dr. Tuli, Advocate Bonani, and their team for deploying the most qualified people. So there is nothing that anyone of you has said that has not been duly recorded. And you can see our interpreters. I said he must have a notebook to make notes, but his computer mind captured everything, and his interpretation was excellent. He did not add or subtract anything. So that is the respect that your parliament has shown to yourselves, and we wish you all the best. And because you are the people of Limpopo, you are the only ones who have the Rain Queen, Mujaji. You must go to her and tell her that we want to give you land, but we can't give you land unless she also gives us water. So she will give us water, and those who own water, we must say, as you are saying, that we can't have land without water. So water and all natural resources should also go to the people. But you are a wonderful people, and I guess the mistakes which were made of people who thought that you are disruptive, as Comrade Bongo said, Honorable Bongo, people today have been proven wrong, and we must continue to prove our detractors wrong. And the veterans of our struggle, the royal leaders, thank you for your patience and understanding that we should allow the younger generation to speak, because O.R. Tambo says a country and a people who don't respect and protect the interests of the youth and the children have no future. Now I'm assured that with the kind of leadership you have shown, we have a future. We thank you very much. le sepele ha botse tshepelane zwa boya pula e le nele. Thobela.
Oh, you did that one. How about you know what you